Chapter 1326, The Blood Demon Falls, 3. A competent dark wizard must always finish the job. At this moment, sweat began to bead on the Blood Demon Tower Master's forehead. Although innate spells saved on spell power, it was all relative. Blood God's Retribution was his trump card, a powerful move that naturally consumed a significant amount of energy. He extended his spiritual force, probing into the depths of the ocean below. Suddenly, his expression changed. Damn, still not dead? This dragon abomination is tougher than the amethyst race. He hesitated, casting a reluctant glance back at Dragon Palace Island before swiftly retreating. His centuries of experience as a dark wizard had honed his instincts, and he was certain this island held something valuable. But the dragon abomination was too fierce, he might not be able to defeat it. No matter how precious the treasure, it was only worth it if one lived to claim it. Meanwhile, beneath the ocean's surface, a colossal shadow rapidly approached the Blood Demon Tower Master. As the shadow broke through the massive waves, it revealed three menacing dragon heads, each towering as high as a three-story building. Their eyes, large as barrels, fixated on the Blood Demon Tower Master. Suddenly, an invisible ray shot forth from the dragon's horns, moving with blinding speed. The blood flame boundary field, which could slow down most physical and magical attacks, was powerless against a pure mental assault. The nightmare dragon's breath struck directly into the Blood Demon Tower Master's mind. Fortunately, his spiritual force was nearly 100 points higher than Levi's, allowing him to withstand the attack with only a momentary lapse in focus. But in a battle between formidable opponents, even a brief lapse could be fatal. The three-headed dragon god's immense body, towering over 20 stories high, emerged fully from the ocean, standing proudly on the massive waves. Its muscles bulged, scales and veins protruding with power. It raised the world-destroying flame sword high. The Heavenly Dragon Sword Codex activated, sending a torrent of Crimson Emperor Dragon Sword chi crashing towards the Blood Demon Tower Master. This strike was far more powerful than the one Levi had unleashed earlier. Coupled with the Blood Demon Tower Master's momentary distraction and the disruption to his protective field, the sword's power finally tore through the domain's force field. The Blood Demon Tower Master's body was protected by numerous wizard tools, some 4th circle, others 5th circle, all spoils from his many kills. But under the assault of the sword chi, only the 5th circle tools could withstand the attack for any time. The 4th circle tools disintegrated instantly, turning to ash. Damn it, what a loss, the Blood Demon Tower Master cursed internally, filled with regret. Regret, nothing but regret. Why the hell did I come here to stir up trouble? If I had just stayed home and cultivated in peace, nothing would have happened. He was determined to escape, vowing to become an absolute practitioner of the path of caution from now on. Using the wizard tools as shields, he managed to block the terrifying sword chi. Above him, standing on the three-headed dragon god's head, Levi remained calm. Indeed, every senior 5th circle wizard is not to be underestimated. Any trace of pride from having slain 2 top-tier talents earlier had now completely vanished. Geniuses were formidable, but sometimes those who quietly endured and advanced step by step through relentless cultivation were even more terrifying. Unfortunately, I can't let you live. Now that you've discovered my hidden paradise, you must die. With that thought, Levi channeled the power of the Golden Snake. As the fleeing Blood Demon Tower Master looked up, he was shocked to see a magnificent golden divine palace descending from the night sky above him. Even before the palace touched the ground, the terrifying force of suppression caused various degrees of damage to his bones and flesh. He coughed up blood, desperately summoning defensive spells to resist the pressure. I have a primordial soul, I cannot die. His strong will kept him going, allowing him to unleash his most powerful strength, rune language. Vast amounts of spell power surged out in a frenzy. The Golden Snake Divine Palace was blasted away by his spell, shattering into fragments. Levi sighed inwardly. Indeed, the Divine Palace wasn't invincible. Or perhaps, his current Golden Snake cultivation, just entering the 5th circle, was insufficient to suppress such an experienced and powerful senior 5th circle wizard. Now wearing the brilliant golden dragon armor, Levi gathered all his Golden Snake power into the golden horn on his forehead. Although the Divine Palace hadn't succeeded in suppressing the enemy, it had set the stage for his next deadly move. From the horn, a golden beam of light tore through the pitch-black night sky. In an instant, it was upon the Blood Demon Tower Master. What kind of technique is this? The Blood Demon Tower Master was stunned. Weren't dragon abominations supposed to be simple-minded brutes, relying only on innate spells, crude martial arts, and basic secret techniques? His face twisted with madness as he ignored the drain on his spell power, casting various innate spells to buy himself time to escape. But it was too late. Levi's golden light, though only powerful enough for one strike, never missed its mark. The Blood Demon Tower Master's chest was blown apart, his heart obliterated, and the intense heat turned his wound to charred ash. The light in his eyes began to fade. Yet at the very moment his life force was about to be extinguished, he erupted in a final burst of energy. Secret art, Blood God's Feast. For a brief moment, his eyes regained their luster. But now they glowed with a blood-red light, as if he had become someone else entirely. The wounds on his body began to regenerate, with new flesh growing rapidly until he was fully healed. His face twisted into a beastly snarl, his robes bulged and then exploded. His body swelled, hunching over, finally transforming into a colossal blood-scaled giant beast, towering 10 stories high. The beast had massive blood-red wings that blocked out the sky, and a pair of antlers on its forehead, resembling a Kylan from Levi's previous life. On the other side, Levi's expression changed drastically. Chapter 1327, The Blood Demon Falls, 4. Blood Clan's True Form. In his memory, this kind of transformation was similar to how members of the Blood Clan revealed their true form. Could this Fire Cradle City Master be a member of the Blood Clan? Hilden T figure it out. I can smell the scent of dragon blood, like a strong spirit, intoxicating. If you don't want to face death, you'd better surrender, obey me, and be my blood servant. The Blood Lord Giant ahead spoke in a gentle male voice, lofty and old. Blood River will. Levi murmured. To deal with a dragon abomination, there's no need for the Blood God himself to act. I am Gennady Santos, the 9th general under the 7th true ancestor of the Blood God, known as Venerable Blood Scales. The giant beast loomed above, exuding endless majesty, trying to force Levi into submission. Upon hearing that the opponent wasn't the Blood River Will, Levi breathed a sigh of relief. He smiled and said, "Where did this little minion may from? Get lost." As soon as he finished speaking, the 3-headed dragon god surged from the sea. With 6 arms wielding long swords, it slashed at the Blood Lord giant beast. Outside the dark ancient tower, in the human realm, at the Church of Holy Light, Saint Yelin, now at the level of a divine servant, stood on heavenly mountain, gazing at the sky. A familiar figure appeared in the projection of the ancient tower. Venerable Blood Scales, why has he descended in an incarnation to the dark ancient tower? Yelin murmured to himself. Among the Blood Clan, the higher-ranking members are called Venerables, equivalent to divine servants or wizards of the primordial soul realm. Above the Venerables are the true ancestors, and beyond them is the Blood River Will. The Church has been instant conflict with the Blood Clan, and they are quite familiar with Venerable Blood Scales. His true strength is no less than that of an 8th-level wizard. Even though this is just an incarnation with the power of a 5th level, that dragon abomination likely won't be able to handle him. Let them tear each other apart, it's a good thing. Yelin closed his eyes and resumed his cultivation. In the realm of Crimson, the 9 Cities Alliance. What's going on? How did the Fire Cradle City Master turn into a member of the Blood Clan? Could the Blood Clan have already infiltrated the wizard world? I'm not sure. He might have practiced some secret technique from an evil god that allows him to summon the incarnation of a powerful Blood Clan member. He's gone down a dark path. But it's also a good thing. With the help of a powerful Blood Clan member, that damned 3-headed dragon abomination can be killed. It'll rid our wizard civilization of a great enemy. That's true. We need to win this. Dark ancient tower, on the surface of the sea, colossal beings were locked in a brutal, flesh-rending battle. On one side was the 3-headed dragon god, with its mountainous body, 6 arms, and the power to unleash devastating sword chi. On the other was the bloodthirsty, sinister, and seemingly immortal blood-scaled giant beast. The ocean, under the influence of their overwhelming auras, transformed into a world of black and crimson. The clash of these titans was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The blood-scaled giant beast, as an incarnation of a high-ranking member of the Blood Clan, possessed a body of monstrous resilience. Its defense, strength, and healing abilities were all on par with the 5th-level amethyst race. As the sword chi repeatedly slashed at its flesh, the wounds would regrow almost instantly. Blood spread across the sea, igniting into blazing flames. But the 3-headed dragon god was no less formidable. Its formidable defense, strength, and fearsome sword chi allowed it to launch relentless attacks. Moreover, as the black flames born from the Death Ember Dragon's power burned and invaded the wounds of the blood-scaled giant beast, venerable Bloodscale souled feel his once mighty regenerative abilities being gradually weakened. The wounds were healing slower and slower. He realized the severity of the situation. This dragon abomination was no simple foe. Submit to me. To be a servant of venerable Bloodscales is your honor. Die. The three-headed dragon god leaped fiercely, landing atop the head of the blood-scaled giant beast. The long sword of black flames repeatedly pierced its body. The blood-scaled giant beast's massive jaws tore at the dragon god's body, reducing its 6 arms to just 4. The dragon god grabbed the golden dragon shield and slammed it down on the beast's head. Bang! 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 The shield bent and deformed under the impact. The beast's skull cracked, blood gushing out, only to begin healing once again. How truly monstrous! Levi exhaled a torrent of ash dragon's power, transforming into a breath of flames that seared the beast's shattered skull, slowing its regeneration. Dark death flames, crimson emperor dragon flames, and black flame void, all 3 types of exotic flames spewed forth from the dragon god's 3 heads, surging into the abyss of the beast's gaping maw. These flames intertwined and exploded within. Boom! The head of venerable Bloodscales was completely obliterated, vaporized by the flames. Even so, his mutilated body continued to move, and it seemed a new head was beginning to form. An unkillable croach, indeed. Levi quickly drove the long sword of black flames into the wound. He poured every ounce of exotic flame and Death Ember Dragon's power he had left into the beast's injuries and stuffed 10 4-colored fire pills into the wound. Then, he swiftly retreated, vanishing into the Scarlet Dark Dimension. Explode! A muffled roar followed. An unprecedented wave of terrifying energy erupted from within the beast's body. Everything within a 3-mile radius was vaporized, leaving nothing but destruction in its wake. The shockwave swept into the Scarlet Dark Dimension several miles away, blasting the 3-headed dragon god out and sending it flying. The 4-colored fire pills attacked indiscriminately, sparing neither friend nor foe. This move might hurt the enemy, but it's me nearly as much, Levi murmured. Typically, the proper way to use the flame-gathering pot was to strike its surface, launching fire pills at a distant target. For greater effect, Levi had stuffed 10 of them into the beast's body. Such a tactic was risky, potentially harming himself as well. But with the Scarlet Dark Dimension as his refuge, Levi dared to take the gamble. Chapter 1328, The Blood Demon Falls, 5. High above, a light drizzle of blood began to fall. The blood droplets landed on the surface of the sea, shimmering with a strange vitality, as if they were alive and leaping. More of this. Levi's expression changed. In the end, the blood completely turned into flames and dissipated. Venerable Bloodscales' incarnation was dead. Amid the blood rain, 23 blood-red scales, each emitting a faint, eerie glow, slowly descended onto the sea. Under the terrifying explosion, the rest of the giant beast's body had been obliterated. Yet these 23 scales remained intact, a testament to their incredible hardness. Damn it! The true me won't let you get away with this. A distorted, complete true soul transformed into a streak of blood-red light, ready to vanish and return to the Blood River plain. But then, a web descended from the sky, ensnaring the ethereal true soul. What is this? Venerable Bloodscales' fragmentary true soul panicked. A powerful, irresistible force began to pull at him, and he made a terrifying realization. At some point, a 3-foot-tall little figure had emerged from the sea, its tiny mouth open, eyes gleaming with hunger. What is this? Lord Blood River, save me! Venerable Bloodscales let out a desperate cry as his true soul was drawn into the little figure's mouth, disappearing in a flash of light. Master, when I swallowed that snack just now, I think I heard a voice in my head. Leon patted his belly and spoke up. What voice? Levi sat cross-legged, regaining his strength. The Blood River shall descend, and the cycle of reincarnation will begin anew, Leon replied. Levi's expression remained calm as he said, It's nothing. You can go home now. All right. Satisfied after his midnight snack, Leon flew off entant. Levi began to clean up the battlefield, carefully searching until he found a blood-red ring at the bottom of the sea. Phew, thank goodness. I thought the storage ring had been blown to pieces, Levi sighed in relief. After finishing up, he lifted the 23 scales and gazed up at the sky. The Blood River is about to descend, Hey? Seems like it's being well prepared this time. But that's none of my business. The ones who need to worry are the church and the lords of the wizard world. I'm just a carefree, happy-go-lucky dragon abomination. The human realm. Yelin's face stiffened as he muttered to himself, are the incarnations of the Blood Clan's venerables this week now? Or was Venerable Bloodscale seriously injured? Even in his current realm, approaching that of a divine servant, it would still take considerable effort to kill Venerable Bloodscale's incarnation. After all, the Blood Clan had been causing trouble in the human realm for some time, and Yelin had already slain a few of their venerable incarnations, making him well versed in the matter. If this dragon abomination fully matures, the dragon abomination venerable will have another powerful subordinate under his command. Sigh, when will all the evil in this world finally be eradicated? Wizard world. The wizards of the 9 cities alliance stared silently at the sky. This 3-headed dragon abomination is growing stronger and stronger. Damn it, is there really no one who can handle the dark ancient tower? Aside from the elder generation of 5th Circle wizards, among the younger ones, perhaps only Simon might barely prevail, but it wooed me at a heist. You don't understand, Simon. Simon has trained in specific innate spells designed to combat Dragon Keen. When fighting dragons, Simon has the upper hand. The title of Dragon Slayer is not for nothing. Land of Darkness. Dragon Abomination Venerable roared with laughter. An 8th level Blood Clan member daring to call himself a Venerable? Even the Blood River itself wouldn't be so arrogant. Well done. The Fire Sovereign shook his head. As a wizard, lowering oneself to ally with the Blood Clan. It's a fate deserved. Blood River Plain. In the boundless Blood River. In a blood-red palace, a towering giant beast, 1,000 meters tall and resembling a mountain, roared in fury. Powerful Blood Clan members stood in silence, their fear palpable. That damned dragon abomination destroyed a piece of my true soul and stole 23 of my reverse scales. If I don't avenge this, my thoughts will never be clear. Dark Ancient Tower. Levi returned to Dragon Palace Island and conducted another inspection of the array. He instructed the transcendent creatures to remain vigilant, ensuring no other enemies would attack. Back in his secluded retreat, he took out the blood-red scales. The scales were not large, each only the size of a palm. These scales are incredibly hard, sharp, and resilient. They might be materials of level 6 or higher. I'll definitely be able to use them for my 7th talent. The 7th talent he planned to study required the refining of sword molds and infusing them with metal elemental power to beam his envisioned flying sword. The material of the sword mold had to be hard and resilient, or else it would shatter before piercing the enemy's defenses. Temporarily storing the blood scales, Levi took out the storage ring. Although the Fire Cradil City Master was a wizard, he allied with evil gods. He must have practiced some forbidden techniques. Levi examined the items one by one. He soon devoured a blood-red book titled The Sacred Text of Blood. The cover depicted a blood moon. On the blood moon was a flowing river of blood, winding and vast. So this is the true form of the blood river? It really is a river god. He didn't even bother to read the intents of the sacred text. I wouldn't be bothered with the Necromancer's Codex, so why would I study the sacred text of blood? His willpower was unwavering. In the wizard world, many secret techniques existed, often named as dices or sacred texts. Some of these techniques were created by wizards and could be learned at will. However, some were deliberately spread by evil gods or other great entities from different planes to tempt wizards with weak wills into learning them. Chapter 1329, The Blood Demon Falls, 6. These secret techniques were bait, and the great entities were the fishermen. If one were to truly study them, they would eventually fall into an abyss of eternal damnation, destroying their own future. Therefore, the Wizard Council typically classifies such secret techniques as forbidden. Once devoured, they are to be destroyed. However, there are always some who take risks, which is why these forbidden techniques are continually violated. After putting away the sacred text, Levi reviewed his findings and devoured that the Fire Cradil City Master had quite a few valuable items. 5th level magnetic fire ore. I need this ore to refine the sword mold. It's as if the universe is sending me exactly what I need. He held a piece of fire element ore radiating powerful magnetic energy, its dark red hue evident. With this, along with the unknown level blood scales as the primary material and some tindery materials, I can refine the sword mold. In addition to the ore, the old man's space also contained numerous herbs and a pile of useless wizard tools. Seems like he was also someone who plundered and killed. Wait, why am I saying also? This wizard tool is made with materials and craftsmanship of 5th circle quality, but its function seems to be for storage. Could it contain a truth oddity? Frost had formed around the bottle from the condensation of water vapor, indicating its extreme mildness. After a moment, Levi tried to open the bottle. Whoosh! With a sharp sound of air being sliced, a white light shot out at incredible speed. But Levi was prepared. All the arrays in his retreat lit up instantly. Behind him, 3,000 feather blades swirled and encircled. A small white ice cicada darted about wildly within the arrays, its cries piercingly sharp. A large hand reached out and caught the ice cicada. Levi's eyes widened. He stared at the ice blue truth runes on the ice cicada, which were more profound than ordinary earth-grade runes. What kind of truth oddity is this? It feels like idle bee sky grade, and it somewhat resembles the summer cicada's chirp. He was well versed in the illustrated book of oddities. After comparing, the closest match was indeed the summer cicada's chirp. However, it was clear that this was a frost element oddity, while the summer cicada's chirp was a fire element oddity. Therefore, it should not be the same type. Let's check the other spoils, there might be clues about this oddity. Suppressing his excitement, Lev continued searching. Inside the storage ring were also over 1,000,000 ether stones. Additionally, there were some inherited knowledge, such as the meditation art. Levi opened the meditation art and looked at the introduction. This was the ancestral meditation method of the Blood Fire Demon Tower, the former employer of the Blood Vampire Wizard he had subdued in the realm of Crimson. A dark wizard organization that had already been wiped out. Was the Fire Cradle City Master also a dark wizard, or was he possessed by one? Levi didn't figure it out and didn't care to ponder such irrelevant matters. On the last page of the meditation art, he finally found some useful information. It was called Cicada Transformation Method. His expression tightened, and he quickly read through it, then suddenly burst into laughter. Indeed, it's a sky-grade truth oddity, the cry of the cicada. According to the description, the cry of the cicada had several effects. Idled birth a 4th circle frost talent, enhance the power of frost spells and increase frost element affinity talent, improving training aptitude. Idled even have a small chance of giving birth to a special talent. However, these were not the most significant aspects. The most crucial function of the cry of the cicada was, the wizards of the Burning School of Thought use it to harness the power of the intersection of ice and fire to shatter spiritual force crystals, thereby abandoning the primordial soul. After reading this, Levi furrowed his brow and muttered to himself. I'm already planning to shatter the internal force crystals. This external method of shattering crystals seems of little use to me. I'll keep it for now. Perhaps the Holy Infant might find it useful. Even if the Holy Infant doesn't need it, it'll still be useful for some important subordinates in the future. Levi wasn't sure if his own advancement to the primordial soul would synchronize with the Holy Infant. After all, the difference between 5th circle and primordial soul was enormous. The Holy Infant'd synchronize with 5th circle abilities, but that didn't mean it'd synchronize with primordial soul. In simple terms, the Holy Infant was a manifestation of a sky-grade oddity, not an omnipotent being. In any case, as a sky-grade oddity, the cry of the cicada undoubtedly had its applications. Counting the cry of the cicada and the morning star level thunder god's finger in 100 flowers possession, I've unwittingly elected 8 oddities. Except for the metal faction, I have them all. Levi suddenly felt that achieving the maximum of 81 souls might not be impossible. After organizing the spoils, a golden-furred great rat suddenly emerged from Levi's nostrils. It twitched its nose, sniffed the spoils, and then chittered before flying off in a certain direction. Levi's expression shifted slightly, and he followed discreetly. Could it be that I missed some treasure? On the sea surface, Jin continued to fly. Levi followed closely behind, searching carefully. Jin's speed was relatively slow. By dawn the next day, Levi followed Jin to an island several thousand miles away. A volcanic island. After entering the island, Jin flew straight towards a valley. Levi assessed the danger perception and found no immediate threats. However, with his knowledge of arrays, he'd tell that the island had some shallow protective and alarm arrays. This must be the Fire Cradle City Master's training ground. It's right next to me, and it seems to have been inhabited for a while. Probably attracted by the astral soul phenomena I summoned. Levi murmured, having analyzed the situation quite accurately. He breached the arrays and entered, carefully searching with his spiritual force. Aside from finding some worthless materials in the Fire Cradle City Master's retreat, he found nothing of value. He arrived at the valley where Jin was. At this moment, Jin was perched on a not-so-tall jujube tree, munching on a plump, round black date. Seeing this, Levi's eyes narrowed. A dead soul date. This is a precious item that directly increases spiritual force. Wait. Isn't this the treasure Simon took from the witch's family squad some time ago? So it was taken by the Blood Demon Tower Master, and that's why Simon ended up hiding in this desolate place. Dead soul dates, similar to Levi's previous iron tree, were extremely rare plants. Even primordial soul wizards would be tempted by them. Dead soul dates had very demanding growth conditions and were typically found in hell and the underworld. This flowerpot-like device can replicate the growth environment of the dead soul date, truly remarkable. I'll research it further when I return and try to transplant the dead soul date to the ancient Banyan fairyland. Levi promptly picked up the dead soul date and gave Jin a kiss. Jin carried the date and perched on top of Levi's head. You little thing, you're quite useful. The man and the rat flew back to Dragon Palace Island. In the blink of an eye, half a year passed swiftly. In the Holy Brilliance calendar of 1209, during the month of winter, after 6 months, Levi had finally completed the instruction of the 5th rune language model in his mind and had cultivated it to level 2. It must be said, the rune named Moon had given Levi a tremendous surprise. He had originally thought it was just a regular rune to enhance physical attributes. But in reality, it was far from ordinary. Levi, Moon Rune, Level 2, 1/5000, Special Effect, Lunar Rabbit Star Power, Level 2. Lunar Rabbit Star Power, Level 2 communicates with the Lunar Rabbit Star, amplifying your lifespan by 10% based on your original lifespan. Indeed, the special effect of this rune was as incredible as the Lover's Rune, if not more so. Idled extend one's life with a percentage increase. At this moment, Levi realized that he was getting closer to his dream of eternal life. Chapter 1330, Moon Rune. Live long and one will see many things. Be it in his previous life or this life, these were all things that Levi and the vast majority of people dreamed of. All mortals would die, and everyone feared death. Levi was even more afraid of death. Otherwise, he would not be so cautious and steady. The wizard civilization had given birth to many powerful, brilliant, spell systems. Wizards kept collecting historical data and they got the average lifespan of different realms. First circle meant 200 years of lifespan, second circle was 300 years, third circle was 500 years, fourth circle was 700 years, fifth circle was 1000 years, and sixth circle was 2000 years. To mortals, being able to live for 100 years was considered longevity. 100 years might seem like a long time, but it was far from enough for wizards who needed to meditate, study spells, and pursue the truth all day long. Lifespan had always been an important factor that limited the development of the wizard civilization. Therefore, in order to overcome the shortcomings of a short lifespan, wizards tried their best. In terms of the vertical aspect, the wizards constantly pursued higher realms. On the horizontal side, there were lich transformations, bloodline modifications, life-prolonging potions, and so on. There were even some who gave up the path of the wizard and sought refuge with various gods. For example, the most typical dark wizard Emperor Asta. After becoming a god under the Lord of Chaos, he obtained the eternal life he had dreamed of and was listed on the investiture of the gods. All of these methods had achieved some results, but there were all kinds of limitations. Moreover, there were very few wizards who could benefit from it. Therefore, the average lifespan of a wizard had not increased significantly over the years. Thus, when Levi saw the special effect of the Moon Rune, the first thing he thought of was, why don't I just cultivate this rune in the future? I might be able to live forever. At the very least, I should be able to live for tens of thousands of years like a legendary wizard. However, he quickly abandoned this idea. Firstly, Levi would have longevity but no path protection ability. Any natural or man-made disaster would kill him unless he could achieve true immortality and transcend everything. Secondly, in his opinion, the path of the rune language was still a little off. Not to mention anything else, his current strength. In essence, they were all obtained through communicating with the so-called constellation. According to Levi's current research, these constellations should be some kind of celestial life form, which was also in existence similar to gods. If they died, or if they didn't want to send down the power of the stars, the rune language that Levi relied on would definitely be affected as well. Levi didn't like to put all his eggs in one basket, and he didn't like to be choked. Thus, the rune language would always be his support. His most fundamental path was still that of a wizard and knight with unlimited possibilities in a future. This was the power that was truly in his hands. Lastly, the moon rune's lifespan extension ability was based on a percentage. If Levi's lifespan base was not high, then even if he increased it by 1000%, he would not be able to achieve the immortality he wanted. Of course, even so, Levi was still very excited. His biggest question was how long his lifespan would be after the addition of his Night Realm. Unfortunately, no one could give him an answer, because he himself was the pioneer of the path of knights. Before him, Levi did not have a large number of data samples for analysis. Therefore, Levi had always been conservative and calculated his lifespan according to the realm of a wizard. This was also beneficial. It could give him some necessary pressure and a sense of urgency. On the other hand, if Levi had known his lifespan, he might not have worked as hard as he did now. He put away the panel. The Holy Grail of Immortality flew out of his body and landed on the ground. With a thought, Levi entered Ancient Banyan Fairyland. Small stone pond. Around the clear and fragrant pond water, there were lush trees. In the forest, there was a well-divided open space. The soil on the empty ground had been completely turned over. It was extremely soft and emitted the fragrance of soil. Around the small stone pond, Levi had opened up a dozen herb gardens. He divided the herb garden into 5 levels according to the level of fertilizer applied. Ordinary plants and herbs could be planted in level 1 and level 2 herb gardens. There was no need to waste the fertility of level 3 and above herb gardens. After all, the production of level 3 and above fertilizers was not high. Long drilled out from the ground, looking like he was asking for credit. Levi fed Long a pile of black beast meat and let it slowly digest it by Mana's side. Now, half of Levi's fertilizer production had to be supplied to Mana. Mana's position was within the range of the small stone pond. This way, she could directly absorb the spring water of immortality produced by the small stone pond. In the past half a year, with the full supply of the spring water of immortality, level 5 fertilizer, and the nutrient solution that Levi had researched and concocted, Mana's withered tree trunk and aerial roots sprouted again. However, they were sparse, like trees that had just survived the winter. Holy Grail's voice sounded, "Thanks to your care, Mana should be able to stabilize her level 6 realm. It's a good sign that a new sprout is sprouting. It's too dangerous to hunt Rose. Now, you don't need to look for that crazy woman." Levi nodded and said, "That's even better. However, if I meet her, I won't let her off." After having so many methods, Levi's strength was even stronger than half a year ago. When the Crimson Emperor Dragon reached level 5, Levi was confident that he would be able to fight a perfected 5th Circle Dragon. It wasn't impossible to kill Rose with other methods. Rose had always been thinking about the Holy Grail. Levi had a feeling that if he did not solve this problem completely, he would not be able to have peace in the ancient tower. Chapter 1331, Eating Dead Soul Dates. Levi left the Holy Grail and went to the botanical garden. Transplanting herbs and plants was a real skill. Levi did not dare to let the alchemical creatures do it. Let's begin. In the botanical garden, Levi started to get busy. Levi started with the level 1 herbs, and after all these herbs were successfully transplanted, he started to transplant higher level herbs, and so on and so forth. Apart from basic cultivation, Levi was fully immersed in this work, enjoying the joy of farming. Returning to the garden and living in the fields was the life that he yearned for the most. Time passed. Another half a year passed. Year 1210 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, month of harvest. During this harvest season, Levi had basically completed the transplanting of the plants. Only the most precious things like the saint fruit, dead soul date tree, and iron tree had not been transplanted. These plants had very high requirements for the environment. Levi had to find a suitable element-rich land to plant them in the ancient Banyan Fairyland. Fortunately, with the help of the Holy Grail, this task was not difficult. The first was saint fruit. This was a strategic resource that Levi possessed, so he naturally could not be careless. He referred to the environment of the Lost Swamp in the first layer and found a swamp with a radius of hundreds of miles in the south of the ancient Banyan Fairyland. The fog here was hazy and the air was humid, which was most suitable for the growth of the saint fruit. Number 2 large-scale element-rich land, Dreamy Cloud Swamp. Number 1 was naturally small stone pond where Levi lived. As for the iron tree, it needed to grow in an extremely hot place, and it would be best if it was like the land of underground fire. There were also such places in the ancient Banyan fairyland. At the western edge of the fairyland, there was a cluster of volcanoes. Levi named it the third large-scale elemental-rich land, Flaming Mountain. The iron tree was successfully transplanted. The small black tree stood silently on the ground. Levi muttered, "Grow up quickly and let me see the legendary iron tree blossoming." Lastly, Levi temporarily placed the dead soul date tree and the flower pot Dharma artifact in the small stone pond. Levi was waiting to open up a special place for the dead soul date tree to grow in the future. After the relocation of the botanical garden, the remaining transcendent creatures would be easy to deal with. Although the ancient Banyan fairyland was small, it had all the necessary areas. The habitat of most transcendent creatures could be found. Other than the guardians of the 8 heavenly dragon prison, the other transcendent creatures were all sent to the ancient Banyan fairyland. After everything was done, the ancient Banyan fairyland finally had some life to it. There were a few immortal birds and strange beasts that appeared in various places. From now on, this place is my world. Levi was like a god, sitting on the clouds and drinking wine. It was already the 45th year since the ancient tower was opened. Levi's spiritual force had already reached 720 points. His next goal was to upgrade the Crimson Emperor Dragon to a 5th grade knight and study his 7th talent. As for the refining of the Mesh's winged dragon, Levi planned to hand it over to Holy Infant. In the place where he was in seclusion, Levi took out the dead soul date from the purification elixir and put it into his mouth. A bitter taste filled the tip of his tongue. He could feel a warm current slowly flowing into his mind. Then, it flowed through the divine ring tower and into the 7-colored crystal. Levi placed his hand on Klein crystal ball and found that his spiritual power was still 720. Looks like it's less than 1 unit, but my spiritual force has indeed increased. This dead soul date couldn't be compared to the silver scale fruit. A fruit like the silver scale fruit would only bear fruit once in a sapling's life, and the yield was extremely low. Moreover, it could only be consumed once. The dead soul date could be consumed multiple times, but its effect would decrease as the number of times increased until it completely lost its effect. Of course, most wizards would not eat so many dead soul dates. If they ate too many of them, they would easily be corroded by the negative energy, which was not conducive to a breakthrough. However, Levi had the all-purpose purification elixir, so he only needed to soak in it for a while. 1 dead soul date was enough for Levi to refine for a while. There were more than 10 ripe fruits on the date tree. Levi planned to take one every month. After eating all of it, Levi had to wait for the next batch to mature. If all the fruits were eaten, he could only wait for the next round to bear fruit. Sea of Stars. Fire Dragon Island. Holy Infant was crafting Golden Dragon's Blessing, which was the last wizard tool he was crafting for the Rust Dragon Wizard. Holy Infant was very focused, sending spell runes into it without rest. He was extremely dedicated. Although it was refined for others, Holy Infant also pursued high quality as much as possible. This way, his proficiency in refining weapons would increase even more. Several days later, the Golden Dragon's Blessing and the Iron Dragon's Blessing were completed. They floated above the flames and shone brightly. Another 2 small top-grade items, Holy Infant murmured. Wizards divided 5th circle wizard tools into ordinary, fine grade, and top grade. However, there was still a gap between top grade items. Holy Infant divided the top grade into minor top grade and major top grade. What was a minor top grade? In terms of material, workmanship, and function, one of the 3 major factors had reached the peak of perfection, and that was considered minor top grade. Take Circle of Ouroboros, which had its own dimensional door spell, was a minor top grade item. Other than that, it was relatively mediocre. It was the same for the Extreme Fire Wheel. If there were 2 or more factors that reached peak of perfection, it would be a major top grade item. The Black Sun Compass, the Bell of 1,000 Wines, and the Ancient Burning Sky Umbrella were all like this. After he was done, Holy Infant was not in a hurry to send a message to the Rust Dragon Wizard. Holy Infant planned to rest for 3 days to relax his body and mind. The next day at the Star Bazaar. Fire Dragon Cabin. After all these years of sales, Levi had run out of extra wizard tools. Moreover, the market was becoming saturated, so the Fire Dragon hut was temporarily closed for business. Chapter 1332, Opening a Pharmacy. Mia had also been in seclusion for more than half a year to try and advance to the fifth circle realm. In the secret room. Inside Mia's mind. A red, round crystal was spinning in her sea of consciousness. Inside, the shadows of 5 innate spells could be vaguely seen. As a nomadic wizard, being able to reach the perfection for a third circle innate talent was already a feat. Fifth circle, done. The medicine refined by my lord was too useful. Even an idiot like me can advance to the fifth circle realm. Mia was so excited that tears flowed out of her eyes. She couldn't control herself. Advancing to the fifth circle realm was the ultimate dream of many wizards. After all, the possibility of attaining a primordial soul was unpredictable. The fifth circle realm was the endpoint for many genius wizards. Mia's double affinity couldn't even be considered a genius. It was even rarer to rely on time, accumulation, and some luck to advance to the fifth circle realm. If I hadn't met my lord, I might have spent my entire life at the perfected fourth circle realm. Mia was glad that she had performed well in front of his lord. Otherwise, she wouldn't be where she is today. I only managed to attain fifth circle at the age of 500. It's already good enough for me to attain fifth circle before I die. Mia's self-definition was very clear. The primordial soul wasn't something she should consider. Of course, if there was a chance, she would grab it without hesitation. And her chance was Lord Ace. He, I want to share this good news with my lord. When I return from the ancient tower, I can work for my lord. My lord must be a proud son of some hidden force. The thought of joining this organization actually makes me a little nervous. Mia did not know that her fifth circle ability was already considered top-notch in Lord Ace's organization. When she arrived at Fire Dragon Island, Lord Ace was lying lazily on the beach, sunbathing. This was the first time she saw Lord Ace so lazy. The sunlight shone on his handsome face. You've advanced to the fifth circle realm. Holy Infant stretched and asked. Mia raised the corner of her mouth and nodded like a chick pecking at grains. Her excitement was obvious. Congratulations, congratulations. From now on, you don't have to call me Lord. Just call me Ace, said Holy Infant. Mia smiled and said, I'm used to it. I can't change it. It's better to call you Lord. After a long silence, Mia asked, Sir, can I join you now? Holy Infant opened his eyes and said, Of course, but you'll have to make an oath when the time comes. I understand. Big organizations are all like this, said Mia. After some thought, the Holy Infant said, I discussed this with my pharmacist friend some time ago. He intends to rent my fire dragon hut and take on the business of refining potions. As long as the customer provides the ingredients and formula, he can refine the fifth circle breakthrough potion. Mia was delighted. The market for potions in the Sea of Stars is much larger than that of wizard tools. Among my friends, there are a few who are stuck in the perfected fourth circle realm. They can't advance to the fifth circle realm because they don't have any potions. Your friend will definitely earn a lot of money. Holy Infant replied, You'll be in charge of this. I can ask my friends to provide some samples first. You can put it on display. His pharmacist level is definitely not a problem. It's just that he doesn't have a registered pharmacist certificate. All right, leave it to me, said Mia. Holy Infant said, as for the remuneration for the pharmaceutical commission, as long as it's something of equal value, it's fine. Precious plants, transcendent creatures, ores, ether stones, knowledge, and even accurate information and clues about treasures are all fine. I understand. When they left, Mia turned around and secretly glanced at Lord Ace. This friend of Lord Ace, could it be himself? Otherwise, why didn't that friend come personally to the White Robe Wizard Association? If that's the case, Lord Ace was proficient in making weapons and medicine. He was not inferior to Simon. A few days later, at the Star Bazaar, the signboard of the Fire Dragon Hut had been removed and replaced with Mia Pharmacy. To undertake the custom-made work of rare potions such as the Fifth Circle Breakthrough Potion, you need to provide materials and potion formulas, as well as the corresponding equivalent items, including but not limited to herbs, transcendent creatures. In the window of the small pharmacy, there were rows of Fifth Circle red, blue, and green potions displayed. These potions were mainly used to prove the strength of the pharmacist. Mia, who was already a Grey Robe Palace wizard, personally guarded the store. Moreover, she had a pretty face and a myriad of flirtatious temptations. As soon as the store opened, it attracted many wizards. However, the fifth circle pharmacist behind the store was not very famous. He didn't have a registered pharmacist certificate, so he had been open for a few days, but aside from some inquiries, no one was willing to commission him. This troubled Mia, but Holy Infant didn't care. To him, this was a way to collect resources and information, not to rely on medicine to support himself. Several days later, a portly wizard walked into the shop with a question in his mind. "Hello, Ms. Mia. My name is Beckman. I want to make a fifth circle breakthrough potion." Mia was delighted. She smiled sweetly and asked, "Sir Beckman, what kind of potion do you want to make?" "Stone condensing potion. You only need to provide the ingredients for this potion. The pharmacist behind our store already knows the formula." Mia had used the same potion to break through to the fifth circle realm. It could increase her success rate by about 15%, which was not bad. Chapter 1333, 9 Cities Alliance Negotiation Falls Through. You need to prepare enough materials to refine it 3 times. If we fail to refine all of them, we won't charge you a request reward. We'll even pay you a certain percentage of the ether stones, Mia said when Beckman hesitated. Beckman thought for a while and finally took out the materials to refine the condensing stone potion. There were exactly 3 sets. He then took out a small medicine box. There was a dried yellow flower inside. "This is a withered heart petal, a 6th circle medicinal herb. It is extremely rare. It should be enough to be used as a reward for refining the potion," said Beckman. "No problem. Let's sign the agreement." Mia's enthusiastic service made Beckman feel like he was dreaming. As a 5th circle wizard, it was rare for Mia to have such an attitude. This also meant that the pharmacist behind which Mia must be more powerful. It was said that he was a friend of the Fire Dragon Wizard. To be able to be friends with a powerhouse like the Fire Dragon Wizard, one could imagine his strength. Seeing that she had secured her first business deal, Mia was finally relieved. Everything was difficult at the beginning. As long as the pharmacy's reputation was spread, it would soon be able to gain a foothold in the Star Bazaar. On the other side, on Fire Dragon Island, Rust Dragon Wizard had arrived. "Master Fire Dragon, I heard that you've already refined it." Rust Dragon Wizard asked expectantly. Holy Infant nodded and replied, "My luck was not bad. These 2 wizard tools can be considered top grade." His wrist and necklace floated in the air, emitting a precious light. Rust Dragon Wizard's eyes widened. "Thank you, Master." Rust Dragon Wizard said sincerely. Rust Dragon Wizard handed over the request reward that he had already prepared to Holy Infant. A piece of level 5 metal and a book. "Master, I still have some things to do, so I won't disturb you anymore." Rust Dragon Wizard left in a hurry after obtaining the wizard tools. Perhaps it was also to prepare for the advancement to the primordial soul realm. There was no news about Wizard Silverbeard, who was rumored to be in seclusion. Even his disciple Biggs did not know anything. From the looks of it, Silverbeard had probably failed to advance to the primordial soul realm and had probably died in the 3 calamities and 4 disasters. The level 5 metal that Holy Infant had obtained was the water elemental gold. It was not very big and was not enough to refine alchemical creatures. Holy Infant planned to give it to his main body so that he could reforge the Golden Dragon Heavenly Shield. Coupled with the level 5 amethyst, it could make the shield even stronger. During the battle with Venerable Bloodscale's incarnation, the shield had been deformed by Levi. Although it had been repaired later on, it was still not perfect. Divine weapons were like this. They had to be reforged frequently and added with even rarer materials to gradually increase their quality. The book that was given to Holy Infant was a popular science book called 10,000 Gold Reference. There were tens of thousands of different types of rare ores in the multidimensional planes recorded on it. Not only elemental ores, but there were also other unique ores. This was very important to a refiner. It could be used for future plane trips. The break ended. Holy Infant began to get busy again. This time, it was to refine the Mesh's winged dragon. Now that the ores and other materials were all prepared, all that was left was to refine it. As for the main body, Levi cultivated in peace. Several months passed in the blink of an eye. Year 1210 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, the month of winter. Holy Infant had been summoned to the 5 Elders' Palace. The Rust Dragon Wizard had a big announcement to make. Inside the hall, the Red and Blue Dragons, the Red Bone Wizard, and Madame Miracle were also there. In addition, more than 20 5th Circle Wizards from the White Robe Hall and Grey Robe Palace were also present. Rust Dragon Wizard said, "Everyone, some time ago, the Nine Cities Alliance relied on the Skyfire Fortress to repel the Empire's coalition forces of the Lightning Supreme Mage. Lightning Supreme Mage was injured and fled. The last round of negotiations between us and the Nine Cities Alliance has also broken down. As for the reason, I'm sure you all know that the Nine Cities Alliance only promised to give us 15% of the spoils of war after destroying the Tomb Clan and the Amethyst race. How shameless! We sent out half of our forces, but we only get 15%. How is this enough? We nomadic wizards are only half a person in their eyes, right? If they look down on us so much, why do they look for us to cooperate with them? That's right. If this negotiation falls through, then let it fall through. In any case, I won't participate in the operation to annihilate the Amethyst race. I just want to quietly wait for the ancient tower to close. Everyone was furious. Rust Dragon Wizard said, I understand how everyone feels, but the reality is cruel. The Nine Cities Alliance may send troops to attack our White Robe Wizard Association at any time. Everyone must be mentally prepared. Moreover, there are at least 2 level 5 Amethyst race members hiding in the Sea of Stars. They are still doing evil. These are also hidden dangers. After the meeting ended, everyone dispersed with worried hearts. The Red Dragon Queen brought the Blue Dragon Lady to Holy Infant. Master, do you have any time recently? Red Dragon Queen asked telepathically. What is it about? Asked Holy Infant. He could feel that the Red Dragon Queen's spiritual force should be close to 900. At that time, she would be a true perfected 5th circle wizard. Blue Dragon Lady was slightly weaker, but she was still much stronger than the Fire Crocodile City Master. The two of us found traces of a level 5 Amethyst race member some time ago. It was entrenched in the Red Danger Zone. We want to cooperate with Master and kill the Amethyst race member together to ensure that nothing goes wrong. That guy has occupied a mine that might produce level 5 fire elemental ores. We can't let the foreign races have such good things. After thinking for a while, Holy Infant said, all right. We'll split the spoils of war according to our contribution. No problem. Thank you, Master. We'll set off tomorrow to avoid any more trouble. All right. Holy Infant went back to Fire Dragon Island. Chapter 1334, 9 Cities Attack begins. Holy Infant continued to make preparations to refine the Winged Dragon. I wonder how the mine's output is. If there are enough level 5 ores, I might be able to refine Fire God. As the news of the negotiations breaking down spread, the entire White Robe Wizard Association felt as if a storm was brewing. The next day, Holy Infant and the 2 women left the safety zone and began to venture deep into the dangerous area of the Sea of Stars. Holy Fire Plateau. Above the Skyfire Fortress. Groups of wizards were ready to go. They were in groups of 20, led by a 5th circle wizard. There were a total of 500 wizards and 25 5th circle wizards. Among them, there were 5 powerhouses whose auras were at the perfected 5th circle level. This included Wizard Farah from the Fire Bull family. This person was a typical fence-sitter who would fall at the sight of the wind. Roman, a primordial soul wizard, stood in front of the team and lectured, as the saying goes, to resist foreign aggression, one must first stabilize the interior. Before we stepped into the dark ancient tower, the Wizard Council had already taught us this. No matter what faction, no matter if it is a nomadic wizard or an organization, we have to unite. We have to unite against the outside world first before competing with each other. However, some people are selfish and only care about their immediate interests. They turned a deaf ear to the long-term interests and collective interests of the wizard civilization. I'm talking about those people from the White Robe Wizard Association. A bunch of short-sighted people. What they don't know is that the Amethyst race is so powerful that we need the wizards from the south to join forces to barely win. We extended an olive branch, but they responded to our sincerity with silence. Since that's the case, we'll first remove these malignant tumors of the wizard civilization. Eliminate these people who did not care about the overall situation. For the Congress, for the wizard civilization. Everyone, attack! Roman raised his arms and shouted. His voice echoed throughout the entire Skyfire Fortress. Simon opened his arms and descended from the sky. His aura grew stronger and stronger. Simon's spiritual power had already reached the 5th circle senior realm. For this battle, Wizard Besk Taylor will be the commander, and Wizard Simon will be the deputy commander, said Roman. Wizard Besk came from Ceylon City in the 9 cities. Wizard Besk was wearing a gorgeous robe that seemed to be woven from the feathers of some kind of rare bird, and it was filled with treasure light. Wizard Besk was now 900 years old. 200 years ago, he had already reached the perfected fifth circle realm. His strength was unfathomable. On the other side, Simon looked very young. Simon was half naked, and the ribbons danced as he stood in the air. Lord Roman, I have no ill intentions. Although Sir Simon was famous at a young age, his cultivation base is only in the fifth circle senior realm. Isn't it a little inappropriate to appoint him as the deputy commander? Wizard Farah lowered his head and asked. Wizard Farah had thought that he would be the vice commander. After all, he was a perfected fifth circle wizard and was a member of the Fire Bowl family. Simon narrowed his eyes and looked at Farah. He didn't say anything, but the corners of his mouth curled up. I've already considered what you said. However, as a young hero, Simon also needs the opportunity to gain experience. It would be meaningless if I arranged for all the old guys, said Roman with a smile. What else could Farah say? He could only keep his mouth shut. Farah cursed in his heart, those bastards from 9 cities, are they looking down on our 24 mountains? No matter the social class or social circle, there would always be a chain of contempt. Simon looked at the defeated Farah and smiled. He said, Sir Farah, I've only cultivated for less than 200 years. In terms of experience, I definitely can't compare to you. Please take care of me and guide me. Farah's face darkened and he said with a fake smile, I can't say that I am able to guide you. We will be learning from each other. This Simon was truly such a show-off. Simon was 200 years old, and his spiritual force had already reached the fifth circle senior realm. At this speed, Simon would probably be able to attain perfection in the fifth circle realm in his 300s. This kid said that on purpose to mock him for having nothing but experience. Farah closed his eyes. Let's go. Besk said calmly. He threw out a fish-shaped airship. This was the level 5 airship Void Kraken produced by the 9 Cities Alliance. Its speed, defense, and attack were all top-notch. It could even teleport in the air for a short distance. It was just that the cost was too high, and an ordinary fifth circle wizard could not buy it. After everyone boarded the ship, Void Kraken split the sea of clouds into 2 and sped away. On the airship, Simon asked his subordinate, is there anyone else in the White Robe Wizard Association who has perfected fifth circle and below, other than the Blue Dragon Lady and the Red Dragon Queen? The subordinate replied, I don't think so. There's one called Ace, the Fire Dragon Wizard. He's said to be quite strong. He and the Red Dragon Queen teamed up and killed an Amethyst race member that was close to the peak of level 5. Fire Dragon Wizard? Could he be a dragon descendant wizard? Simon raised his eyebrows. No, it's just that his title has the word dragon on it, said the subordinate. How is his cultivation? He should only be a fifth circle senior wizard. His strongest point is that he is a weapon craftsman. He might have several top-grade wizard tools on him, but his power is average. Then I'll just take care of him when I'm there. My main target this time is the 2 dragon descendant witches. Simon looked at the sea of clouds in front of him with confidence. He hated dragon clans, including dragon descendants. In his eyes, they were a bunch of pitiful creatures who were neither human nor ghost, immersed in the fantasy of possessing the dragon's bloodline. In reality, it was extremely fragile and could be shattered with a single strike. Sea of stars. In the depths. The red zone. In the fog, Holy Infant and the 2 women walked side by side. This fog will affect your perception. Master, please be careful, reminded the Red Dragon Queen. Holy Infant nodded. His spiritual perception was indeed affected. Chapter 1335, A Fight Against Rhoda. If his true body was here, it shouldn't have much of an impact. Suddenly, a beast's roar came from the fog. The lake water exploded, and a black shadow flew out from it, attacking Holy Infant. Just as the Red Dragon Queen was about to attack, Holy Infant flicked his finger. A lively fire dragon bearing its fangs and brandishing its claws collided with the black shadow. Boom! The explosion swept through the area, dispersing the fog within a radius of a mile. The black shadow was not big, only the size of a calf. It was a slender black beast that looked like an otter. Its body was covered with extraordinary fur that was shiny and oily. Judging from its aura, it was a level 5 black beast. It's actually a black otter. Its fur is most suitable for refining level 5 divine talismans. Holy Infant's fire dragon tribulation took out half of the black otter's life. The fur on its chest was charred, revealing a deep black wound. However, because of the black beast's brutal nature, it did not escape. Instead, it continued to attack Holy Infant. Its speed was extremely fast, like a phantom. It was estimated that even an ordinary 5th Circle senior wizard could not compare to it. The extreme fire wheel appeared under Holy Infant's feet. Holy Infant turned into a fiery red light and dodged the Black Otter's attack. The Black Otter missed. It clearly did not expect that it, which was good at sneak attacks, would actually fail twice. Before the Black Otter could take any further action, a fiery red ring broke through the fog and descended from the sky. In an instant, it was bound. Then, Holy Infant said, "Queen, lend me your sword. This beast's fur can be used as a practice material when I refine weapons. It's a pity to waste it." The Queen understood. She waved her hand and the lava secret sword descended, beheading the Black Otter. Level 5 Black Beast, dead. I was wondering why you didn't continue to use your spells, Master. So it's because you were afraid of damaging its fur. However, won't the fur of the Black Beast corrode one's mind when refining weapons? Asked the Red Dragon Queen. I'm only using it for practice. I can't use the wizard tools I refined from it. The weapon-making industry is too expensive. I don't have the financial resources to practice with normal materials, Holy Infant explained with a bitter smile. As expected of a master. You really know how to live, the Red Dragon Queen said with a smile. Holy Infant laughed and didn't say anything. He put away the Black Beast's corpse. Not long after, they met another Black Otter beast, also at level 5. Holy Infant said, "It is said that these black beasts usually live in groups. I'm afraid we've entered the black beast's nest. Be careful, I will need your help to kill the black beast in the future. After this is done, I can refine a 5th Circle wizard tool for both of you for free." Are you serious? Red Dragon Queen was overjoyed, and even Blue Dragon Lady couldn't hide her joy. It was their dream to have Fire Dragon Master refine a wizard tool for them for free. After all, Master's refining fee was truly somewhat exorbitant. "Yes, I'm serious," said Holy Infant with a smile. "That's easy to handle. Leave the black beasts to us sisters. Master can just watch the show." Red Dragon Queen snickered as the lava secret sword danced in the air and flashed. The flame bolt sliced the level 3 and level 4 black otters into two. Even the level 5 black otters couldn't last long. It was even more convenient for Blue Dragon Lady. Countless ice blades shot out of her ice sword, cutting through everything. Holy Infant picked up the corpses behind him, having a great time. It's still more comfortable to be a boss, Holy Infant sighed in his heart. As they got closer to their destination, the number of black otter beasts increased along the way. Half a day later, Holy Infant had already 3 level 5 ones, collected more than 20 level 4 ones, and hundreds of low-level ones. This black beast meat is enough for long to eat for a while. To Holy Infant, the black beast was a treasure. Therefore, after he became a wizard of the White Robe Hall, he used the power in his hands to completely take over the handling of the black beast in the Sea of Stars. This way, there would be an endless stream of black beasts entering his pocket every month. Otherwise, with just Levi and Holy Infant, Long would definitely have a hard time. Roar! With a roar, the Blue Dragon Lady's expression changed and she jumped up. In the lake below, 100-meter-long crocodile that looked like a dead tree rushed out of the water. "What a huge crocodile!" exclaimed the Red Dragon Queen. When Holy Infant saw the giant crocodile, he was delighted and said, "Please don't hurt the crocodile's heart. I have a use for it." Red Dragon Queen replied, "Understood. This crocodile is quite strong, it's almost at the peak of level 5, and it has the aura of a dragon. Blue Dragon, let's join forces." Blue Dragon Lady nodded. Behind her back, the secret ice sword flew out and buzzed. The phenomenon of an ice mountain appeared. At the same time, a volcanic phenomenon appeared around the Red Dragon Queen's lava secret sword. Holy Infant did not make a move. With the two women's strength, it would definitely not be a problem for them to kill the sea-overturning crocodile dragon. The sea-overturning crocodile dragon was similar to the black fire dragon that Levi had killed before. They were both existences that stood at the top of the pyramid of mixed blood dragons. The reason why Holy Infant wanted to keep its heart was not to refine weapons, it was for Gustav. Gustav's body contained two very powerful mixed blood dragon bloodlines. One was the sea-overturning crocodile dragon and the other was the heavenly armor mist dragon. He planned to use the crocodile dragon's heart to extract the original bloodline crystal and refine the bloodline potion. In this way, Gustav would have a chance to completely return to his ancestors as a sea-overturning crocodile dragon in the future, and eventually grow into a giant beast at the peak of level 5. Levi had never been stingy with his family. Gustav had made great contributions to Levi's growth. Moreover, after Gustav reached rank 5, he could continue to benefit the knights. As for Levi himself, only the sub-dragon species could catch his eye. On the other side, the two swords combined. Red and blue spell rays slashed out. In the end, the sea-overturning crocodile dragon was no match for the two women and was beheaded. "Thank you, both of you." Holy Infant took out the heart and used a spell to protect it. Then, he put the dead crocodile dragon into his storage ring. "Hehe, you're welcome. We're doing this because you promised us a wizard tool," Red Dragon Queen said with a smile. "We'll be there soon. Master, let's make our preparations." "The peak level 5 amethyst race is not something that this black beast can compare to," Blue Dragon Lady reminded. Holy Infant nodded. In the fog in the distance, the outline of a huge island could be vaguely seen. 3 figures flew forward quickly. After a while, before they even got close to the island, a purple light shot into the sky and swept away the fog. As the world became clear, a one-armed purple figure sneered at the 3 of them. It was Rhoda. Red Dragon Queen's expression was grave as she said, "Looks like you've already discovered us." Rhoda laughed. "Of course. In fact, the last time the 2 of you passed by this place, I had already discovered you. I guessed that you were going to ask for reinforcements, but I didn't expect. I'm so disappointed that you only brought a 5th circle senior wizard. Among the 3 of you, there's not even a single one with a perfected 5th circle. It's really not fun killing you guys." The instant he saw the Amethyst race member, killing intent rose in Holy Infant's heart. This person was the Amethyst race member who had blocked the teleportation portal back then. Enemies meet on a narrow road. I will avenge myself. Chapter 1336, Fighting Rhoda. Dark Ancient Tower, 5th floor. Sea of Stars. Holy Infant and the others looked at Rhoda. "Why would I need to use a perfected 5th circle expert to kill you? You think too highly of yourself." Red Dragon Queen had always been as good at talking as anyone else. It was an eventful time. Most of the 5th circle powerhouses were stationed in the encampment, facing the possible enemies together with the other wizards. Therefore, after the Red Dragon Queen and the others discussed with the Rust Dragon Wizard, they decided to invite Master Fire Dragon to kill the Amethyst race member. Master Fire Dragon had previously exterminated a level 5 Amethyst race member with a single strike. It could be said that he had left a deep impression on her. "Very good. You humans are soft everywhere, but only your mouth is hard and stubborn. I am Rhoda, the witness to your deaths." Rhoda clenched his single arm tightly, and a terrifying aura spread out. Just this invisible aura was enough to tear through the fog. His terrifying strength was evident. Holy Infant muttered to himself, "I'm so fierce. I can actually take a punch and not die." The person in front of him should be the strongest enemy he had ever encountered. It was similar to the Amethyst race member that he had encountered during the Battle of the Holy Grail. Although he had lost an arm, he was still a perfected 5th circle wizard. If Holy Infant had faced it alone, he would probably have run away. Fortunately, he had 2 teammates this time. From the looks of it, they were very reliable. "Master, Blue Dragon, and I will pin this person down. You just need to attack from the back. At the critical moment, use your trump card again and try to kill him here." After the Red Dragon Queen spoke, she turned into a streak of red light and shot into the sky. Ice swords danced around the Blue Dragon Lady as she attacked from the other side. 1 blue, 1 red. 2 figures surrounded Rhoda. Rhoda's body flashed and he moved extremely quickly. Bang! The purple cannonball was already flying towards the Blue Dragon Lady. Sacred skill, Moon in Palm. Rhoda's single arm turned into a blade and his palm slashed out. A circle of energy ripples in the shape of a full moon spread out. The Ice Dragon's ring dance field lit up around the Blue Dragon Lady. First talent, Ice Rhinoceros Finger. An icy finger emitting a destructive aura condensed in the air and shot out. Boom! The ripples collided with the jade-like fingers, and snowflakes scattered. The Red Dragon Queen pointed at the sky like a commander. Meteor stars. Meteor after meteor descended from the sky, forming a giant meteorite that was engulfed in flames. Holy Infant hit at the back and clenched his right hand. The Crimson Dragon Ring turned into a fire dragon and whizzed out, wrapping around Rhoda. Although this was the first time the three of them were taking action, they had a tacit understanding. Rhoda did not expect that a 5th Circle senior wizard would have such a treasure. Caught off guard, Rhoda was bound and unable to move. In the next moment, Rhoda had already used brute force to break through the Crimson Dragon Ring. However, with the opportunity created by Holy Infant, the giant meteorite crashed into Rhoda's head. Boom! Rhoda's head was smashed in like a turtle retracting its head. The flames burned his body, and the flames soared into the sky. However, Rhoda was not afraid. Instead, he enjoyed it. As a member of the Amethyst race, he yearned for battle too much. Rhoda raised his single arm high, holding the meteorite and bursting with power. Sacred skill, Mountain Fusion. The extreme power destroyed all techniques. The meteorite was shattered by Rhoda and turned into ashes. Rhoda's falling body finally stabilized. Not only that, but Rhoda's head, which had shrunk into his body, popped out again. Holy Infant frowned slightly. The Amethyst race was really troublesome. If Holy Infant's main body was here, it would be easier to deal with Rhoda. After all, Holy Infant's main body had many treasures. However, since Holy Infant was here as a support, he would watch the two women fight. If he encountered danger, he would not hesitate to use the extreme fire wheel to escape. Even Rhoda shouldn't be able to catch up to him. Holy Infant released the Crimson Dragon Ring. He pointed out and the Crimson Fire Dragon roared and exploded around Rhoda. The energy was released, the flames soared into the sky, and the surface of the lake boiled. In the face of a genuine 5th Circle senior wizard attack, Rhoda's body was only charred black on the surface and did not suffer any major injuries. Rhoda didn't even look at Holy Infant. This filled Holy Infant with a sense of defeat. The Amethyst race had high spell resistance, and Rhoda was at the peak of level 5. Moreover, Rhoda's body was impervious to blades and spears, as well as water and fire. Almost all of the body tempering techniques in the wizard world paled in comparison to this innate goldstone body. Just you wait. Holy Infant gave up on using the Fire Dragon Tribulation and no longer wasted his spell power. Instead, he focused on using the Crimson Dragon Ring to disgust Rhoda. In the sky, Rhoda was once again trapped by the Crimson Dragon Ring. Then, the red and blue attacks smashed into his body. Damn it, I can't dodge it at all. Although my body is invincible, I can't keep getting beaten up like this. That male wizard has to be dealt with first. Rhoda realized the seriousness of the problem. After he broke the ring, he sent the fire meteor flying with one punch and shattered the ice dragon with another. Sacred skill, String Break. Rhoda leaned forward like a fully drawn bow. Bang! Along with the sound of the bowstring being snapped, Rhoda charged forward at an unimaginable speed. Oh no! He went to ambush Master Fire Dragon. Red Dragon Queen and the Blue Dragon Lady used their own methods to stop Rhoda. However, Rhoda's move was too fast. When they reacted, huge waves exploded on the lake in front of them. Rhoda's body stood upright, surrounded by countless flames. The flames above his head transformed into Holy Infant's figure. He was born with a fire elemental body, so he was still immune to many pure physical attacks. However, the purple light on Rhoda's body was similar to blood chi and could cause real damage. Chapter 1337, Teaming Up to Attack Rhoda. Holy Infant's face was pale as he stepped on the extreme fire wheel. The Crimson Dragon Ring flew out, buzzing as it wrapped around Rhoda. Is this the only move you know? Rhoda roared like a giant being harassed by flies. There's still this move. An ancient umbrella appeared above Levi's head. As the 9 streams of flowing flames danced in the air, a sense of crisis filled Rhoda's heart. Rhoda broke the ring and wanted to escape. Seeing this, the Blue Dragon Lady spat. A blue smoke turned into an inescapable heaven's net and trapped Rhoda once again. The third talent, Frosty Mist Moon. Sacred skill, Mighty Star. Rhoda's purple light shone brightly and turned into a purple star above his head. The stars rotated, and the huge force tore the smoke net apart. However, what greeted him were 9 crimson divine dragons bearing their fangs and brandishing their claws. Boom, boom. 9 consecutive booms. It was as if a 9-petaled red lotus had bloomed on the surface of the lake. Under the earth-shattering attack, a body that had melted and distorted rushed over in anger. Die! Rhoda gathered his strength and punched in Holy Infant's direction. The ancient burning sky umbrella landed on Holy Infant's head. The crimson fire dragons surrounded it, forming layers of protection. Kika. The force field shattered layer by layer. Relying on this chance to stop him, Holy Infant flashed and moved away. He then cast a crimson dragon ring on the spot and trapped Rhoda within it. I'm going to kill you. Rhoda had gone crazy after being played with time and time again. The person in front of Rhoda had a low cultivation level, but he was able to fool him with these 3 wizard tools. This was unprecedented. The 2 witches saw a great opportunity. The Red Dragon Queen and the Blue Dragon Lady each used their top-grade secret swords. Lava Secret Sword. Ice Secret Sword. The 2 secret swords combined into one and played the song of ice and fire. Ice and fire dragons appeared. On the left was the world-extinguishing flame dragon, who was covered in lava armor. On the right was a dreamy ice dragon that was emitting a cold aura. Molten twin dragons. The 2 dragons of ice and fire charged toward Rhoda, releasing energy waves that were much stronger than the 9 dragons' tribulation. Ice and fire were 2 heavens. 2 giant dragons danced on the surface of the lake, forming a magnificent spectacle. Even though Rhoda was from the amethyst race, he was still severely injured by such an attack. It was all that damn wizard's fault that Rhoda was unable to use his defensive sacred skill. The extreme cold caused his body to continuously collapse, and the sudden high temperature caused him to begin to expand. The amethyst structure that formed his body also began to become unstable. Kaka! His indestructible body actually cracked open. Like a statue shattering, pieces of amethyst fell to the ground. The 2 women did not dare to be negligent and continued to attack. The 2 swords combined and used it again. Sacred skill, fusion. The amethyst on the ground began to melt and then condensed together like liquid. Before the attack hit Rhoda, a huge purple palm split the world apart. I've said it before, you guys are not qualified. Rhoda turned into a purple ape, pounded his chest, and stomped his feet like a mountain. However, the surface of his body was like shattered glass. It was obvious that he was at the end of his rope and was not invincible. Seeing this, the 9 dragons appeared on Holy Infant's umbrella again. On the foreheads of the 2 women, fine red and blue scales appeared. The same happened to their palms, arms, and chests. The 2 women cut their fingers with their secret swords, and the lava blood and ice water blood flowed into the swords at the same time. The magma and ice swords turned into a lifelike lava dragon and an ice dragon. Rhoda, who had lost his mind, collided with the 2 dragons. Rumble! This explosion was so terrifying that even a perfected 5th circle wizard would have to avoid it. The cracks on Rhoda's body spread again, and the lava and ice dragon's breath drowned him. Holy Infant's second 9 dragon tribulation had already been unleashed. The 3 energies fused around Rhoda and exploded. Rumble! The wind and clouds changed color, and heaven and earth were shocked. Rhoda's violent ape body shattered once again. His true soul was destroyed and he lost his vitality completely. Only a diamond-shaped amethyst was left on the spot where he was standing. The amethyst was beautiful. Phew! The 3 of them heaved a sigh of relief in unison. He's finally dead. This amethyst race is really too difficult to deal with. Red Dragon Queen's chest heaved up and down as she sweated profusely. After all, Rhoda was a peak level 5 amethyst race member, and we don't even have a cultivation base of the perfected 5th circle realm. It definitely wouldn't have been easy for us to kill Rhoda. Even the usually calm Blue Dragon Lady couldn't hide her excitement. Killing a peak level 5 amethyst race member was definitely something to be proud of. This meant, with the 2 of them working together and being supported by Master Fire Dragon, they could be considered invincible under the primordial soul realm. After all, there were only a few level 6 experts like Rose whose realm had fallen. The peak level 5 amethyst race was already the peak of the 5th circle battle prowess. However, Holy Infant felt fine. If his original body was here, he felt that if he used all his methods, he should be able to kill the amethyst race member alone. However, he would have to take some risks. The 3 of them didn't waste any time. They collected the amethyst and the scattered wizard relics on the ground. That amethyst belongs to Master. After all, we're not weapon craftsmen, so it's not of much use to us. As for these wizard relics, we sisters will take 80%, and Master will take 20%. How about that? Asked the Red Dragon Queen. No problem. Thank you. Holy Infant smiled and put away his spoils of war. In short, the 2 women had contributed more in this battle. Holy Infant was there mainly to assist and control the situation. Holy Infant was already satisfied with the amethyst. Chapter 1338, Dividing the Spoils of War. In fact, among these wizard relics, there were not many that were truly valuable. The most valuable thing was still the amethyst. The Red Dragon Queen's actions were also an opportunity to build a good relationship with him. In the long run, after they become familiar with each other and they find him to make some weapons for them, they would probably be able to enjoy the friendship price. Holy Infant was also happy. In this way, the danger posed to our Sea of Stars will be reduced by 1. Let's go to that mine. I wonder how many resources there are. Holy Infant nodded and followed. On a red island, the earth was filled with deep pits, like scars. In these deep pits, there were some fragments of rare ores that had probably been swallowed by Rhoda. However, the island was very large. The three of them had gained quite a lot. Holy Infant had obtained a large pile of level 5 Scarlet Heart Flame metal ore. After refining it, it should be enough to refine one of the 12 gods, the Fire Phoenix. Looking at the expressions of the two women, they must have gained a lot. The Red Dragon Queen smiled sweetly and said, "Let's go back, Master. Don't forget our agreement." Holy Infant smiled and replied, "I've benefited a lot from following the two of you this time." "Thank you. You're too polite, Master," Blue Dragon Lady smiled. Red Dragon Queen took out the airship and invited Holy Infant to enter. She and Blue Dragon Lady sat together, while the Holy Infant was reading the 10,000 gold reference with a focused expression. Red Dragon Queen suddenly asked, "Master, do you have a partner?" Holy Infant shook his head and replied, "I'm already too busy with weapon making and cultivation. I don't have time to find a partner." "Well, that's pretty lonely," whispered the Red Dragon Queen. "It's okay once you're used to it. If you ever want a partner, I can pull some strings. In our Dragon Descendant Priory, there are many 5th Circle Dragon Descendant witches who are single and beautiful," Red Dragon Queen said half-jokingly. Holy Infant laughed and politely replied, "Thank you, Queen. He was just a tool for the main body. Before my career is completed, how can I dare to talk about love?" Several days later, they were getting closer and closer to the encampment. Suddenly, the Red Dragon Queen's communicator rang. When she saw the message, her expression changed and she said, "We have to hurry. I just received news from the 5 Elders' Palace that the 9 Cities Alliance has already led an army to the border. I heard that more than 500 wizards have come. There are more than 20 5th Circle wizards. Even Simon the Fire Dragon Destroyer has come personally." Blue Dragon Lady's expression turned icy as she said, "The 9 Cities Alliance is really aggressive. They just repelled the mages of the Empire and they're already attacking us without stopping. We just want to develop the Sea of Stars in peace. Why are they so unreasonable?" Holy Infant smiled and said, "There is no reason in this world. Fists are the reason. What do you two plan to do next?" He had long expected this day to come. Red Dragon Queen replied, "We need to go back. The Rust Dragon Wizard is our benefactor. We won't abandon the Wizard Association. What about you, Master?" Holy Infant thought for a moment and smiled as he said, "I'll come along and take a look at that legendary Dragon Slayer. Outside the ancient tower. Sleeping Dragon Realm. At the headquarters of the Dragon Descendant Priory. The president of the Dragon Descendant Priory was a blonde wizard who looked burly and strong. His name was Miania, the strongest wizard in the Dragon Descendant Priory. He was at the peak of the 8th Circle Realm and was also known as Sir Golden Dragon. Alexandra's strength is getting stronger and stronger. She was able to join forces with Elsie and kill a peak level 5 Amethyst race member with the help of a 5th Circle senior wizard. This kind of battle record really gives us Dragon Descendants much pride." With that thought, he picked up the video and stepped into a teleportation portal. Behind the teleportation portal was a boundless crimson world. As far as the eye could see, the earth was filled with volcanoes and lava. There was an island in the middle of a huge lava lake. To be more precise, it was a dragon covered in lava scales. It was thousands of meters long, and its back was like a mountain ridge, continuous and uneven. The dragon breath it spat out turned into the lava of this world. It spread its wings like clouds that covered the sky. Its blazing golden pupils were like a lake of lava, reflecting Miania's figure. "Lord Leod's," Miania greeted respectfully. Even though he was an 8th Circle wizard, he had to lower his noble head in front of this person. This was because Lord Leod's was a pure-blooded adult dragon, a living legendary creature, and also the biggest backer of the Dragon Descendant Priory. Lava Dragon Leod's. He was the Red Dragon Queen's father. Almost all dragon fathers would become scum dragons after giving birth to pure-blooded dragon descendants with humans, leaving their mothers and descendants. On one hand, it was because it was difficult to have true feelings between humans and dragons. On the other hand, even if they had feelings for each other, with the long lifespan of the dragon race, whether it was his spouse or his children, they were destined to die before him. Liad's was an exception. Ever since he had matured sexually, he and many human women had given birth to dragon descendants. Most of these dragon descendants died in their human mothers' wombs because of his powerful bloodline. As long as a dragon descendant was born, he would not let it go. Instead, he would try his best to be a dragon father. Alexandra was his descendant born 400 years ago. She was a child of the fire element, and with the lava dragon bloodline in her body, her cultivation progress was naturally not slow. Now that she was close to attaining perfection in the fifth circle realm, Liad's believed that Alexandra had a chance of becoming an primordial soul. Chapter 1339, Preparing to Attack White Robe Wizard Association. In that case, his daughter would be able to accompany him for a longer time before dying of old age in front of him. Therefore, every time Liad's woke up from his deep sleep, he would pay attention to what his daughter was doing. The life of a dragon was so boring. The video in Miania's hand was playing the video of a man and two women fighting against the Amethyst race member. It's only been a few hundred years, but my little Alexandra can already take charge of her own affairs. Time sure flies. Liad's voice was like that of a kind old man. It did not match his body shape and appearance at all. Different dragon clans and different individuals had huge differences in their personalities. It wasn't the evil dragon that many people thought it was. The lifespan of pure-blooded dragons was usually between 30,000 to 50,000 years if they did not die prematurely. And some of the races might even be higher. For example, if the lava dragon was healthy, its lifespan would be close to 80,000 years. A few hundred years was just a little bit of its long dragon life. Yes, time flies, said Miania as he smiled bitterly. He sighed at the longevity of the dragon clan that did not care about the passage of time at all. Liad's asked, "Who is this wizard? Alexandra's male partner? Who is this dragon descendant witch?" Miania was sweating profusely. Liad's had slept for too long and didn't know much. "That's the blue dragon lady. Her father is the ice dragon Munis. She is also Alexandra's partner. This male wizard is probably a companion that Alexandra met in the Dark Tower," replied Miania. Liad's muttered, "Munis, I think I've heard that name somewhere before." "What? The Dark Ancient Tower has opened." Liad's had just woken up and was unable to react in time. "Yes, it has been open for 45 years, said Miania. Liad said, "When I wake up again, Alexandra will already have her primordial soul." Watching the dragon close his eyes, Miania left silently. Dragon Palace Island. Ancient Banyan Fairyland. In a huge karst cave filled with lightning, a giant beast that looked like a wolf or a dragon woke up. Its head was wrapped in a medicinal bandage. As it woke up, the bandages fell off, revealing the scabbed wounds. The thunderstorm wolf dragon that had been smashed half to death by Levi had completely recovered. It growled and walked out of the cave, looking at the unfamiliar world. A majestic figure stood in front of it. It was Levi. "You're awake?" asked Levi with a grin. Before Levi could use his dragon's might to threaten and intimidate the thunderstorm wolf dragon. Plop! The thunderstorm wolf dragon knelt on the ground with its front legs, tucked its tail between its legs, lowered its head, and let out a sobbing sound of submission. "I've been wandering for half my life, muddle-headed, and deceived by others. Now, I've finally met the noble person I'm destined to meet. Blennis greets master." The thunderstorm wolf dragon's excited voice sounded in Levi's mind. Levi was stunned. "You didn't even give me a chance to show off my dragon's might, and you're already submitting." Thinking of this, 6 dragon images appeared and stood in the sky behind Levi. Levi said sternly, "Very good. A wise man understands the times. Blennis, follow me and join the Dragon Palace. I will ensure that you can safely advance to level 6 and grow. Thank you for taking me in, Master. You can continue to recuperate. I won't disturb you anymore." After establishing his might, Levi left the ancient Banyan Fairyland. The thunderstorm wolf dragon had just recovered from a serious illness, so he did not draw its blood for testing. Looking at his master's back, Blennis heaved a sigh of relief. "He's too terrifying. Fortunately, I can take it up and let it go. I'm flexible and optimistic." Blennis returned to the cave and continued to recuperate. Dragon Palace Island. In a cool valley. Aya was cultivating alone here. Although she had only trained for a year, her spiritual force was already at the later stage of a low-level apprentice wizard, and she had even mastered 3 apprentice cantrips. Even Levi was surprised by her speed. He couldn't help but raise the rating of the special talent that showed the phenomenon of the Crown of Darkness to another level. With Aya's speed, she could become an official wizard within 10 years. In terms of wizard talent, Levi felt that Aya was slightly stronger than Andrew, an earth elemental child. Her special talent was extraordinary. In the place where Levi was in seclusion, he looked in the direction of the Sea of Stars. The 9 Cities Alliance is attacking. A war of this scale will probably last for some time unless a primordial soul wizard steps in to stop it. Not to mention that Levi's Crimson Emperor Dragon had yet to advance to level 5. Even if it reaches level 5, Levi alone would not be able to defeat a group of wizards. If it really doesn't work, I'll let Holy Infant run away. Levi continued his closed-door cultivation as usual. Sea of Stars. Outside the White Robe Wizard Association's encampment, a giant airship traversed the sky. More than 500 wizards surrounded the encampment like stars. 5 figures stood in the air. The perfected 5th circle wizards were Besk, Farah, Yolanda, Brita, and Gomez. Apart from Farah, these people were all old fellows that the 9 Cities Alliance had specially arranged for this trip to the ancient tower. Every one of them was very old. The youngest was already 800 years old. The other top wizard organizations also had the same arrangement. For various reasons, these people had no hope of advancing to the primordial soul realm and were not too far away from their end. Therefore, under the organization's arrangements, they continued to shine in the ancient tower. Simon stood beside Besk. This battle is mainly to deter these people. If possible, subdue them and try not to harm their lives. After all, this battle would be projected in the wizard world. If we go too far, it won't be good for the reputation of our 9 Cities Alliance. Chapter 1340, Attacking White Robe Wizard Association. Simon smiled and said, I understand. We have a good reason for this battle. It was because they were not united and selfish that we had no choice but to take action. If everyone had joined forces to fight against the outsiders, why would we have to fight each other? In front of the army of the 9 Cities Alliance, in the sky above the Sea of Stars, the grey-robed experts, white-robed experts, and 5 elders from the White Robe Wizard Association were waiting to confront the 9 Cities Alliance. Rust Dragon Wizard, Madame Miracle, and Redbone Wizard all had solemn expressions. At the back, the 700 wizards who had been guarding the encampment gathered together. The commotion was so great that it was comparable to a small-scale regional wizard war. Dark clouds covered the city, and the atmosphere was tense. After a moment of silence, Baskier shouted, Rust! Don't struggle! We don't want to fight. Besk exuded the aura of a perfected 5th circle wizard, and his spiritual force had already reached 1000 points. This aura caused the nomadic wizards of the White Robe Wizard Association to involuntarily suck in a breath of cold air. He has completely attained perfection and is just short of advancing to the primordial soul realm. That's too terrifying. Don't worry. We have Lord Rust here. Since you don't want to fight, why don't you retreat? Asked the Rust Dragon Wizard with a puzzled expression. Besk laughed softly and replied, We can retreat, but you need to join the allied forces to fight against the foreign races. In the entire southern region, everyone has joined the allied forces except for your White Robe Wizard Association. What if we don't join? Rust Dragon Witch's eyes were emitting a dangerous aura. His personality was good, but it did not mean that he was a pushover. Then for the sake of the big picture, for the sake of our 9 Cities Alliance being able to focus on fighting against the foreign races, we can only eliminate the White Robe Wizard Association. Although this is a little cruel, I believe that what we are doing is for the greater good of the wizard civilization, said Besk. You're so long-winded. Aren't you just finding a lousy excuse for your unjust war? Rust Dragon Wizard sighed. Humph, there's no point in talking. Let's fight, Besk snorted. In the wizard army at the back, someone took out a horn-shaped wizard tool and blew it. 4th circle wizards charged toward the encampment as though they were on steroids. In the next moment, the surroundings of the encampment suddenly lit up with arrays that connected the sky and the earth. These arrays were like a great wall, blocking all the attacks of the 9 Cities Alliance. Behind the array, a wizard was presiding over it. 5th circle array, the Great Wall of the Monarch territory. You actually have such a large military array. Simon's expression changed. The so-called military arrays were usually specially made for large-scale wars. The Great Wall of the monarch territory was one of them. This kind of array was extremely difficult to refine. It required at least a fifth circle perfected array wizard to refine it. So this is what you're relying on, Besk said coldly. He had long heard that the Rust Dragon wizard was unfathomable. He had lived for more than 1,000 years and was extremely low-key. Besk did not expect that this old fellow was actually a perfected fifth circle array wizard. He was most likely a retired commander of a battle group. Rust Dragon wizard methodically mobilized the fourth circle wizards. Some were in charge of controlling the array, some were in charge of attacking, and some were in charge of taking turns. This kind of ability to remain calm in the face of danger was definitely not ordinary. Rust Dragon wizard sat alone in the center, observing the entire situation. Red Dragon and the others went to the dangerous area to hunt the amethyst race. They should be back soon. At that time, my pressure will be reduced a little, pondered Rust Dragon wizard. Besk said to Simon, Simon, I'll send people to deal with the Grand Array and those perfected fifth circle wizards. You lead a few experienced fifth circle wizards and charge into the array from the weak spots on the side. If we encounter danger, our first priority is to protect our lives. Otherwise, we won't be able to report to Lord Roman. Simon chuckled and said, I know. Seal, Giza, you two, come with me. Simon turned into a streak of light and rushed forward. Upon seeing that, Rust Dragon wizard commanded, Hunter, Hart, you two brothers and Arctic wizard, go and stop Simon and the others. You must be careful. Simon's strength is not something that ordinary fifth circle senior wizards can compare to. Understood. We brothers have long wanted to find an opportunity to beat this Simon up. Hunter and Hart were both fifth circle senior wizards. The two brothers had mastered some kind of joint combat technique, which allowed them to display the power of 1 + 1 is greater than 2. Although Arctic wizard had entered the fifth circle senior realm relatively late, he had lived for a long time, so he must have some trump cards. These three should be enough to stop Simon and the others. Simon came to the flank and prepared to use his knowledge of arrays to break through the Great Wall of the monarch territory. An icy arrow tore through the air and arrived in front of his face. Old fellow! Simon looked at Arctic wizard who attacked him and sneered. Boom! The moment the ice arrow hit him, a flame beam shot out and melted it. At the same time, Simon's eyes glowed red. Two laser beams shot out, and Arctic wizard's protective force field was instantly shattered. A large hole was also pierced through his wizard tool. Arctic wizard narrowly avoided it, but the right side of his chest was still pierced through, and blood flowed out. Arctic wizard quickly consumed a potion to heal his wounds. At the same time, a frost giant appeared behind him. Fire God, destroy him! Simon did not even bother to look at Arctic wizard. He was not interested in such an ordinary fifth circle senior wizard. He just wanted to find the two dragon descendant witches as soon as possible and make them his mates or kill them. Chapter 1341, The Trio Arrives. Behind Simon, a fire god's phantom appeared. Red flames rose to the sky, and his red hair danced wildly. After the fire god appeared, he slapped at the frost giant. Ice and fire collided. It was like a battle between the ancient gods, destroying the world. My fire god is a sky-grade oddity, Fire God's Gaze. It is similar to a low-level primordial soul wizard form. How can an ordinary illusion spell like yours compare to it? Simon sneered. As expected, not long after the clash, the frost giant's chest was pierced through by the fire god. It then melted into snow and disappeared. The fire god's ferocity overflowed into the sky. He took a big step forward, holding a flaming greatsword in his hand, and charged towards Arctic wizard. Arctic wizard's expression changed as he frantically fled. The great sword easily cracked his force field and completely tore apart his wizard tool. Arctic wizard escaped into the array and barely heaved a sigh of relief. The two brothers, Hunter and Hart, had just used their combined skills to temporarily repel Simon's helpers. Simon, die! Double-headed ghost shark! They panted heavily as a double-headed shark charged at Simon. The ocean countered fire. Simon looked at this attack and finally became a little more serious. With a wave of his hand, dragon head chess pieces flew out. The light of the array easily blocked the double-headed shark. Let's see how capable you two are. I'll give you two choices. Join the Alliance army or die, said Simon coldly as he looked at the two brothers. Bah! Who do you think you are? The two brothers refused to admit defeat and once again used their joint skills to attack Simon. I gave you a chance but you didn't grasp it. Simon sighed. Then, Simon stretched his muscles and pulled out the streamer from his body. Go, take these two people and strangle them to death. The streamer flew out and wrapped around Hunter's body at lightning speed. Like a giant python strangling him, Hunter's defenses were shattered layer by layer. Hart was shocked and attacked Simon with a spell, but it was easily blocked by the fire god's phantom. Simon remained unmoved. He smiled and said, "Ask the Red Dragon Queen and the Blue Dragon Lady to come out, or let the Rust Dragon Wizard come out personally. Don't waste time." Hunter's face turned purple when he was strangled. Seeing this, the anxious Hart shouted, "Simon, do you really want to kill them all?" Simon ignored him and continued to study the method to break the array. Hart looked at his brother who was about to be strangled to death. His face was ashen as he said, "We will join the Alliance army." "Please stop." Simon put his hand on his ear and smiled as he asked, "What did you say? I didn't hear you." In the face of such humiliation, Hart was furious. In the end, he could only say helplessly, "I beg you, please don't kill him. We know we were wrong." Simon laughed. He waved his hand gently. Kaka. Accompanied by the sound of bones shattering, Hunter was strangled into pieces and fell to the ground, dying a miserable death. Besk's voice entered his mind. "Simon! What are you doing? Didn't I say that we should persuade them to surrender?" "I gave them a chance," Simon said lightly. Besk frowned and said, "Remember, we just had a big battle with the mages of the Empire, so we need to replenish our manpower. This is Lord Roman's order." "I know." Simon ignored Besk. Hart seemed to have gone mad as he charged at Simon, but he was stopped by a figure. The newcomer was wearing a gorgeous red robe. Her legs were long and slender. She was the Red Dragon Queen. "Hart, don't make meaningless sacrifices." Hart's eyes were bloodshot. After regaining his senses, he silently retreated. "He's a lunatic." "Queen, please be careful," said Hart in a hoarse voice. At the same time, a ray of blue light also arrived. It was the Blue Dragon Lady. "Elsie, you and Master Fire Dragon should go support the other regions. Leave Simon to me." "Be careful, then," the Blue Dragon Lady said after some thought. After Holy Infant arrived, he finally saw the legendary Simon. This person was handsome. His lips were thin, and he had a gloomy appearance with a crazy aura. "Master, leave this to Alexandra." "All right." Holy Infant went to the battlefield. He found a fifth circle wizard from the 9 Cities Alliance attacking the Grand Array. The extreme fire wheel on his feet spun and turned into a stream of light. A fire dragon charged over. The fifth circle wizard's expression changed. The terrifying fire dragon shattered his force field and almost killed him in an instant. A fifth circle senior. That 9 Cities Alliance wizard ran away without hesitation. Under the lake, a red ring appeared and fixed him on the spot. In the sky, the ancient umbrella descended, and 3 fire dragons flew out. Boom! 3 dragons exploded. This ordinary fifth circle wizard died on the spot without any suspense. Holy Infant waved his hand and put away the storage ring. He sneered in his heart, "I can't say for sure that I'll win against Simon, but it's not a problem for me to beat these noobs." When the Rust Dragon Wizard who was commanding saw this scene, he heaved a sigh of relief. "Thank you, Master Fire Dragon." "Has the Amethyst race member been killed?" asked Rust Dragon Wizard. "He has been killed." "Sorry, we came a little late," said Holy Infant. "That's great. With this, the hidden danger in the rear will be reduced." Rust Dragon Wizard continued to preside over the battle. Besk frowned and said to the 4 perfected fifth circle wizards beside him, "I'll have to trouble you to make a move." Pharaoh was expressionless as he went to the front of the array. Seeing that the other party's fifth circle powerhouses had already gone into battle, the Rust Dragon Wizard sighed, "Why are you forcing me?" Rust-like scales appeared on his forehead, and his powerful aura soared to the sky. Chapter 1342, Turn the Tide. Behind Rust Dragon Wizard, a 1,000-meter-long dragon could be vaguely seen floating in the clouds. Its scales were like rust, simple, ancient, and heavy. Rust Dragon Wizard Mandros. A pure-blooded dragon clan dragon descendant of the ancient Rust Dragon. Blue Dragon Lady was shocked when she saw this. Is Sir Rust's bloodline so thick? It can actually produce such a phenomenon. I heard that even pure-blooded dragon descendant have a difference in the density of their bloodline. It should be rare to have such a density like Sir Rust's, right? Holy Infant pondered. Rust Dragon Wizard rode on the giant dragon Phantom and single-handedly took over Gomez and Brita, who were both in the perfected fifth circle realm. As expected of a 1,000-year-old undying old man. In that case, let me fight you. Besk shamelessly joined in. The three of them surrounded Rust Dragon Wizard. As for the other two, they were fighting against Redbone and Madame Miracle. As a result, the Rust Dragon Wizard immediately fell to the ground. Master, if the two of us work together, we might be able to severely injure a perfected fifth circle wizard and share some of the pressure with Sir Rust. Blue Dragon Lady sent the message mentally to Holy Infant. Holy Infant looked at the witch in front of him. He had originally wanted to run away because he felt that the White Robe Wizard Association would have a hard time winning in the current situation. Forget it. Before I run, let me put on a show. Thinking of this, Holy Infant transmitted his voice, let's attack. The target is, the perfected fifth circle witch. Holy Infant's aura burst forth, and the ancient burning sky umbrella suddenly enlarged. It descended from the sky and enveloped the battlefield. On the other side, the Blue Dragon Lady waved her hand, and the secret sword of ice attacked the witch named Yolanda. When Yolanda saw this, she sneered, you overestimate yourself. Sixth talent, Kiss of the Goddess of Fire. In the sky, a pair of huge fiery red lips opened their mouths, wanting to swallow Holy Infant and Blue Dragon Lady. Blue Dragon Lady glanced at Holy Infant. The moment Holy Infant was swallowed by the huge mouth, the light wheel under his feet flickered with green light, and he suddenly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already standing in the middle of the ancient umbrella. A void-shifting magic tool. Yolanda's expression changed drastically. This unremarkable fifth circle senior wizard actually had such a top-grade magic weapon. Even she, who was a perfected fifth circle wizard, did not have one. This person was not a top genius like Simon. Where did this item come from? As the Blue Dragon Lady resisted her fiery red lips, she released a blue smoke that enveloped Yolanda. Frosty Mist Moon. Yolanda was controlled for a moment, and the protective force field around her was activated. Embrace of the Goddess of Fire. She opened her arms, and a pair of giant red arms hugged Holy Infant. In the sky, 9 divine dragons had already descended. Rumble. A shocking explosion sounded beside Yolanda. An attack that could severely injure Rhoda of the Amethyst race, who was at the peak of level 5, was naturally not to be underestimated. Yolanda was a perfected fifth circle wizard, but she had only mastered 6 talent spells. She was the weakest. She only had one top-grade wizard tool on her, and it was an offensive one. The flames lit up the sky. Yolanda's force field shattered, and more than half of her protective wizard tool shattered. Her body was charred black, and her face was mournful. She was in endless pain. Die! She chased after Holy Infant without a care. Holy Infant had already begun to flee after releasing this attack. Blue Dragon Lady's expression changed. She quickly went to support Holy Infant, but she was stopped by a fifth circle senior wizard who appeared out of nowhere. On the other side, the Red Dragon Queen and Simon's fight had reached its climax. The Red Dragon Queen had thought that she was close to the perfected fifth circle realm and was a dragon descendant wizard, so she should be able to suppress Simon. However, when they really fought, she realized that she had underestimated these top geniuses. From the corner of her eye, she saw a fifth circle witch chasing after Master Fire Dragon. She wanted to stop them, but she was powerless. He could only place his hopes on Elsie. Master, you can't die. You still owe me a favor. Veins bulged on the Red Dragon Queen's face as her dragon scales appeared. The 12 volcanoes pressed down on Simon, trying to force him back. Alexandra, right? Be my dragon maid and I can keep you alive, Simon laughed. He had already thought of 10,000 ways to humiliate and torture the dragon descendant, and he was just waiting to put it into practice. Conquering a powerhouse like the Red Dragon Queen gave him a sense of accomplishment. Get lost! The Red Dragon Queen roared like a female Tyrannosaurus. After Yolanda left, the Rust Dragon Wizard instantly felt much easier dealing with the 2 perfected fifth circle wizards. Iron Dragon's Shelter, Golden Dragon's Blessing, and the endless stream of top-grade and high-quality wizard tools. A total of 9 powerful innate spells shocked Besk and the others. This old fellow actually has perfection in 9 talents? No wonder he's so fearless. No wonder he's so talented, but he's been stuck in the perfected fifth circle realm for hundreds of years. The shocked Besk was already thinking about his next step. If it really doesn't work out, I can only use the level 6 spell scroll that Lord Roman gave me. On the other side, Holy Infant relied on the extreme fire wheel and was chased to Fire Dragon Island by the exasperated Yolanda. His expression was calm as he flew over Fire Dragon Island. You can't run. Her innate spells kept sweeping toward Holy Infant. They were all blocked by the ancient umbrella above Holy Infant's head. However, it was obvious that the ancient umbrella had reached its limit. Holy Infant's spell power was also about to be exhausted. A perfected fifth circle wizard was still too powerful for Holy Infant, who had relatively simple methods. However, just as Yolanda flew over Fire Dragon Island, something unexpected happened. Streaks of purple light descended from the sky and quickly surrounded Fire Dragon Island. A magnificent purple lightning palace descended. Yolanda was suppressed, and her expression changed drastically. You ambushed me. You were the one who wanted to come to my house. Who's to blame, said Holy Infant with a smile. You can't stop me. Although Yolanda didn't understand arrays, she relied on her realm to suppress them. Her terrifying spell made the array tremble continuously and was about to shatter. Holy Infant waved his hand, and countless streaks of fiery light appeared in the array. 200 Fire Dragon Calamity Talismans, Super Double. I'll give you a big gift. The explosion of the first divine talisman sounded like firecrackers. In an instant, countless fire dragons condensed into a 300-meter-long giant fire dragon that hovered above Fire Dragon Island. The space around the fire dragon was distorted by the heat. The surface of the island instantly turned into lava. Destroy! Rumble! An unprecedented shocking explosion swept out. Before this, the Holy Infant had only thrown out 100 talismans at once. This was because he had tested that after more than 100 talismans, compared to the consumption, the little increase in power was not worth it. However, when facing a powerful enemy who was in the perfected fifth circle realm, he naturally had to deal with a saturated blow. Holy Infant only had over 1,000 level 4 Fire Dragon Divine Talismans in total. He had given half of it to his original body. That attack just now had lost half of Holy Infant's stock. Of course, the power of this attack did not disappoint him. The terrifying explosion that surpassed the 9-dragon tribulation raised the entire Fire Dragon Island to the ground. After the flames dissipated, Yolanda also disappeared. Sigh, Fire Dragon Island is gone. Phoenix appeared in the lake. It was hidden deep underground on the island, so it was naturally unharmed. However, Phoenix was also scared half to death. At this moment, Phoenix was hiding behind the Holy Infant, feeling aggrieved. Holy Infant's spiritual force scanned the battlefield, but he didn't find Yolanda's ring. His expression changed. Did it explode? He searched around. In the end, he found a spatial ring that was full of cracks and could collapse at any time. On the surface of the ring, there were sharp spatial turbulences that shot out like sparks. Scared me to death. Holy Infant endured the pain and quickly put away the ring. He changed the place of the things stored in the spatial ring and then threw the ring into the lava. Not long after, Blue Dragon Lady rushed over, panting. She looked at the disappearing Fire Dragon Island. Master! The witch is dead. Her voice trembled and her eyes widened. Yes, she's dead. Chapter 1343, All living things yield to the dragon. Sea of Stars. Above the disappearing Fire Dragon Island. Blue Dragon Lady was silent for a moment before she asked, Master, are you all right now? I'm all right, replied Holy Infant. Then I'll rush back to the battlefield first. It's good that you're fine. Blue Dragon Lady left in a hurry. She was unable to hide the shock on her face as she pondered the method Master used to wipe out the perfected fifth circle wizard and Fire Dragon Island. Could it be that it was because of that top-grade wizard tool again? Even if it was Alexandra, she would have to use the consumable trump card her father had given her if she wanted to kill a perfected fifth circle wizard. Elsie knew that Master was not as simple as he looked. His true strength was unfathomable. After returning to the battlefield, Blue Dragon Lady's ice secret sword transformed into a huge mountain and fell toward Simon. Simon wasn't surprised. Instead, he smiled and said, That's great. Both of you are here. I don't have to hide anymore. As for the Fire Dragon Wizard, Simon had long forgotten about him. It didn't matter if he killed that small fry or not. Alexandra and Elsie were his targets. Arrogant fellow. Elsie's expression turned cold and murderous. She and Alexandra combined their swords and unleashed a terrifying killer move. Good. Simon laughed. Behind him, the fire god's phantom expanded again, and the world-extinguishing great sword slashed down. At the same time, with a wave of his hand, the dragon annihilation array surrounded the battlefield. I'll show you the great gift I've prepared for the dragon clan. Simon's eyes were cold. A tattoo of a giant golden bird suddenly appeared on his bare upper body. The giant bird was extraordinarily handsome and exuded a destructive aura. Its golden wings blotted out the sky. A circle of golden light covered a radius of several miles with Simon at the center. Within the range of the golden light, both the blue dragon and the red dragon could feel the dragon blood in their bodies boiling and trembling. Domain spell, all living things yield to the dragon. The tattooed bird on Simon's back came alive and shuttled through the golden light domain. This is the End Dragon Bird, the enemy of the Dragon Clan. The Red Dragon Queen's expression changed when she saw the bird. The End Dragon Bird. A mythical creature that was extremely powerful. It was said that it feeds on giant dragons and is the public enemy of the Dragon Clan. Just like the dragon abomination Venerable, everyone hated it. You're really abnormal. In order to deal with the Dragon Clans, you wasted your innate talent spell slot to learn such a spell, the Red Dragon Queen cursed. Humph, you don't understand. Simon was too lazy to explain. Along the way, he had shouldered too much, but these could not shake his determination. The domain was activated. For a moment, Red Dragon Queen and Blue Dragon Lady were actually in a passive position. If they worked together with Master Fire Dragon, they could kill a peak level 5 Amethyst race member. Ha ha ha. Seeing this, Simon's attacks became even more frantic. All living things yield to the dragon. It was an innate spell that Simon had comprehended not long ago. Simon was extremely lucky to find a divine bird statue in an ancient ruin on the Holy Fire Plateau. This divine bird was the legendary the End Dragon Bird, the nemesis of the Dragon Clan. It was said that this divine bird's diet had only consisted of dragons since it was young. Regardless of whether it was a hybrid or a sub-dragon, the End Dragon Bird would not reject any of them. After it was completely formed, it was a true mythical creature that was enough to kill many pure-blooded dragons. Most people with a dragon bloodline would be suppressed by this bloodline instinct. The spells that Simon had studied in the past which targeted the dragon clans were not worth mentioning compared to this. In order to cultivate this spell, Simon had already connected to the consciousness of a great existence in the land of darkness through the statue. Under the guidance of that existence, he had comprehended such a heaven-defying domain spell. If he were to encounter the Sky Dragon Wizard again, Simon would definitely be able to defeat him easily. If you don't submit, then die. Simon sneered. You're crazy. Red Dragon Queen and Blue Dragon Lady had never faced such a spell before. In an instant, they were under the spell, and their bodies instinctively felt fear. This bloodline suppression made them extremely uncomfortable. At this moment, the dragon bloodline that they should have relied on had actually become a burden. Ha ha ha, incompetent and only know how to get angry, what giant dragon? They're just bugs. Simon laughed. The phantoms of the End Dragon Bird charged toward the two women. Seeing the two proud dragon descendant witches lose their composure in front of him, Simon felt extremely fulfilled. Dealing with the Dragon Clan had become Simon's obsession, completely changing his personality and life. On the other side, the expressions of Besk and Gomez, who were fighting the Rust Dragon Wizard, changed drastically. Yolanda is dead. Didn't she go after a 5th Circle senior wizard? I'm not sure, but her soul token is indeed broken. Not long after the battle began, one of the perfected 5th Circle wizards had already died. This caused Besk and the others to panic. A perfected 5th Circle wizard was the ceiling of combat strength other than that of a primordial soul wizard. It was the reason why they could dominate the Holy Fire Plateau. In the sky, Rust Dragon Wizard's powerful 9th innate talent turned the surrounding land upside down. At this moment, the members of the White Robe Wizard Association realized that this low-key wizard who had lived for thousands of years was truly terrifying. Seeing this, Besk asked sternly, Rust, I'm asking you one last time. Don't force me to start a massacre. What welcomed Besk was a sky full of high-temperature rusty swords that came crashing down on him. All right. Besk hardened his heart and threw out a spell scroll. On the scroll, there was a picture of a giant flaming snake. It was exactly the same as Roman's primordial soul wizard form. Chapter 1344, Sea of Stars Primordial Soul. just as Besk was about to chant the spell to trigger it. Suddenly, a cold snort came from the void. In the next moment, the void turbulence appeared in front of him. The spell scroll disappeared without a trace. Seeing this happen in front of him, Besk's expression changed drastically, and he shouted, "Which primordial soul senior attacked? Is it Senior Silverbeard?" Besk's voice spread throughout the battlefield. Everyone stopped fighting at the same time. "What? A primordial soul is here? Where are they? Run! There's a primordial soul wizard here!" In an instant, under the might of the primordial soul wizard's presence, the wizards of the 9 Cities Alliance retreated far away. Beads of sweat covered Besk's forehead. He was very certain that the person who had just attacked was a primordial soul expert. In the current sea of stars, the only possible primordial soul wizard was Silverbeard, who had been rumored to have gone into seclusion a few years ago. Rust Dragon Wizard also had a solemn expression. Silverbeard has attained primordial soul. No matter what the situation was, now was the best time to counterattack. Besk only had a 6th circle spell scroll in his hands, which was refined by Roman using a large amount of his spiritual force. Now that the scroll was gone, the one Besk relied on the most was gone. At this moment, Besk felt like retreating. Besk was absent-minded as he fought Rust Dragon Wizard. The mysterious primordial soul expert did not attack again. However, Besk and the other 5th circle wizards no longer had the will to fight. They only felt as if their backs were pricked by thorns and wanted to escape. Rust Dragon Wizard became more and more courageous as he fought. With his own strength, he forced Besk and Gomez to retreat. Retreat? Besk knew that he was no match for Rust Dragon Wizard. Rust Dragon Wizard had 9 talents, which was too abnormal. Gomez had already planned to retreat. Although Gomez couldn't live for long, he knew that he wasn't a match for them, so it wasn't a good idea to continue wasting his time like this. Originally, with Yolanda, the 3 of them could still suppress the Rust Dragon Wizard if they worked together. Now that Yolanda had been killed and Silverbeard had broken through to the primordial soul, the scales were already tilting in the opposite direction. On the battlefield, relying on the Great Wall of the Monarch territory, coupled with the advantage in numbers of the White Robe Wizard Association, the army of the 9 Cities Alliance retreated. Simon seemed to have gone mad, and the all-living things yield to the dragon domain consumed a lot of spell power. However, Red Dragon Queen had a trump card as well. A crimson dragon's scales surrounded her body and blocked the projection of the End Dragon bird. Not only that, but this had also put Simon in danger many times. Damn it! Seeing that the situation was hopeless, the others retreated. Simon's face was ferocious, and the fire god's phantom behind him exploded. Boom! The flames sent the Red Dragon Queen and the others flying. His streamer danced and spun through the void, flying into the distance to meet up with Besk and the others. "Why did you retreat? We have the advantage." Simon narrowed his eyes, exuding a dangerous aura. Besk replied with a frown, "They have a primordial soul wizard on their side. My 6th circle spell scroll was swept away by the void turbulence. This is obviously a 6th circle technique. So what if they have a 6th circle wizard? Since the 6th circle wizard is hiding and doesn't dare to show himself, we can just continue fighting. With the ancient tower's rules, would he dare to go on a killing spree?" Simon retorted. Besk said fiercely, "Are you crazy? You can't even see through such an obvious warning? If he wants to, he can kill you and accept the punishment of the ancient tower." "A bunch of useless trash," Simon muttered softly. "I advise you not to be so arrogant. If it wasn't for Roman protecting you, you would have died countless times already." Farah, who was a perfected 5th circle wizard, was immediately filled with killing intent after being called useless trash by a junior. Simon smiled and didn't say anything. "Stop arguing. Let's retreat from the Sea of Stars first. Tell Lord Roman about the situation here before we make our next move," said Besk. Besk was also very unhappy with Simon. Simon's personality was twisted and dark, but he was extremely talented and lucky. Simon had walked step by step to where he was today, and his strength was indeed extraordinary. Simon was recuperating by himself, and no one dared to approach him. How could the Red Dragon Queen have such a trump card? Has she always been in contact with her father like what the rumors say and not a dragon descendant that her father left behind to wander outside? Simon was very depressed. The all-living things yield to the dragon that he had carefully prepared could not take down 2 dragon descendant witches who were not even perfected 5th circle witches. Looks like I'll have to borrow the power of the Black Lotus Beast. Holy Fire Plateau. Skyfire Fortress. In a secret chamber. Roman's expression changed when he saw the message. The Sea of Stars has a primordial soul protecting it. There is actually an existence who could advance to the primordial soul realm among that group of nomadic wizards. Could it really be Silverbeard? After thinking for a while, he ordered Besk to temporarily retreat. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm guarding the Skyfire Fortress, I would have gone to meet this newly advanced primordial soul and let him know the consequences of meddling in other people's business. In the current situation, Roman did not dare to let Besk and the others attack rashly. In a situation where there was no primordial soul to hold the fort, provoking a primordial soul would not end well even with the protection of the ancient tower's laws. Roman would not risk the lives of so many wizards. There's no hurry. I'll play with you guys slowly. Roman closed his eyes and continued cultivating. Sea of Stars. Boundless Void. A short and strong figure with a beard and exquisite silver armor looked at the army of the 9 Cities Alliance below with a cold expression. Sam Silverbeard. The dwarf expert was also a powerful weapon craftsman. Silverbeard was standing there, but no one noticed his existence. This was the terrifying strength of a primordial soul. In his hand, there was a broken spell scroll. Roman, you're really shameless. Using something like a scroll to bully the weak. In order to deal with these nomadic wizards, you've really put in a lot of effort and expended a lot of resources. Chapter 1345, Yolanda's Items. The higher the level of the spell scroll, the higher the price. This was why spell scroll did not become the 4th art of wizardry. Now that I'm a primordial soul, let's go to the 6th floor before the ancient tower closes. As a nomadic wizard, Silverbeard had to consider his own interests first. He couldn't be like Roman, who was appointed by the organization to guard the Skyfire Fortress for decades. Silverbeard wanted to head to the 6th level to find more opportunities. Silverbeard had already done his best to help the White Robe Wizard Association scare off their enemies. He was also a nomadic wizard, so Silverbeard naturally knew that it was not easy for everyone. In fact, it had been more than a year since he had advanced to the primordial soul realm. Silverbeard had been hiding in the Sea of Stars to stabilize his realm. Now that his realm had stabilized, it was time for him to leave. He looked into the distance and quietly left. From the beginning to the end, he did not show his face, nor did he greet the wizards of the 5 Elders' Palace. They had met by chance, and now it was time for them to go their separate ways. Unless Roman came personally, the 9 Cities Alliance would be intimidated by Silverbeard's power. For a long period of time, the White Robe Wizard Association should be safe and sound. Rust, I hope that you can attain the primordial soul as soon as possible. On the surface of the lake, Rust, Redbone, and the others looked at the surrounding sky, but they could not see anyone. Let's go back, said Rust Dragon Wizard. The White Robe Wizard Guild did not suffer much loss in this battle when compared to the 9 Cities Alliance army. All of their 5th Circle wizards were still alive. On the other hand, the 9 Cities Alliance had lost a perfected 5th Circle wizard. It could be said that the 9 Cities Alliance attempted to take advantage of the White Robe Wizard Association but ended up suffering greater losses. Red Dragon Queen's face was pale and bloodless. She was supported by the Blue Dragon Lady and returned to the island. Somewhere on the lake. A new Fire Dragon Island. Holy Infant meditated to regulate his breathing. His spell power was depleted, so he did not participate in the subsequent battles. Thank you for your help, Master Fire Dragon. You really have hidden your abilities, Rust Dragon Wizard's voice sounded. There was no other way, the situation forced me, replied Holy Infant calmly. Then, Holy Infant casually asked, it seems that the 9 Cities Alliance has retreated. Rust Dragon Wizard replied, yes, it was probably Silverbeard who stepped up. Holy Infant nodded. It seemed that Silverbeard had already successfully advanced to the primordial soul realm, but he had yet to show himself. Now that the White Robe Wizard Association was in danger, this senior decided to act. Of course, there was also a small chance that it was another primordial soul wizard. No matter who it was a good thing that the White Robe Wizard Association would be able to temporarily avoid a calamity. After sending off Rust Dragon Wizard, Holy Infant continued his seclusion. The next task was to refine the Mesh's winged dragon. But before that, Holy Infant had to see if there was anything good in Yolanda's storage ring. Holy Infant had paid a great price to obtain it. Holy Infant poured out the items in the ring. The ether stones fell like rain, and the total amount was 1.2 million ether stones. To be honest, compared to Yolanda's perfected 5th circle strength, this amount of ether stones was too little. However, considering that she was just a tool of a top wizard organization, it was understandable. Other than the ether stones, knowledge, and materials that were not worth mentioning, there were a few items that were not bad. The first was a top-grade wizard tool called the Gold Dividing Secret Sword. The so-called secret sword was actually a long sword-like wizard tool, similar to the light sword in space battles. It could release all kinds of ray attacks. Of course, physical attacks were also possible. The workmanship of this secret sword was not bad, and the material was very good. It was a high-grade level 5 metal, gold dividing stone. It could release a high-temperature flame beam at the peak of level 5, which could cut through metal and jade. It was very impressive. It's not bad to use it to hunt black beasts. Otherwise, if I were to use my fire dragon tribulation, even its fur would be destroyed, Holy Infant murmured. Holy Infant had planned to refine a secret sword himself. From the looks of it, Holy Infant only needed to use the amethyst he had obtained previously to level up this secret sword. The second item was a large piece of level 5 fire element metal called Blazing Fire Gold. The size of the metal was enough for Holy Infant to refine 2 alchemical creatures. In this way, with the Scarlet Heart Flame metal that he had obtained previously, Fire Phoenix, Fire Golden Turtle, Fire Forest Deer, the refinement of these alchemical creatures on Fire God could also be included in his future plans. Of course, before that, Holy Infant had to refine the Winged Dragon of the Wind God model. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. Year 1211 of the Holy Brilliance calendar, month of the Northern Wind. Year 46 of the Dark Ancient Tower calendar. The news of the 9 Cities Alliance waging war against the White Robe Wizard Association was spread by people who had ulterior motives, and it spread throughout the wizard community in the Io continent. There was also a video that was spread along with the news. It recorded many scenes of the 9 Cities Alliance's unjust invasion of the White Robe Wizard Association. There were even images of the secret discussions of the 9 Cities Alliance that had been leaked by someone. 9 Cities Alliance's intentions were completely exposed. This made the majority of the nomadic wizards condemn the 9 Cities Alliance. Even the other top wizard organizations fell silent. Although they also wanted to annex the resources of the nomadic wizards, at least they wouldn't do it so blatantly. 9 Cities Alliance was too arrogant. Holy Fire Plateau. Skyfire Fortress. Roman looked at the news and photos that were flying everywhere. Have you found the mole? Roman asked in a gloomy voice. Besk was terrified as he replied, it should be Farah. He disappeared not long ago. Sir, should we send someone to chase after him? Roman said icily, chase what? He's a perfected 5th circle wizard and he's all by himself. How could we possibly discover him if he hides in a random place in the Million Mountains? Now that things have already come to this, why should we care about the public opinion of the outside world? Let's continue with our own matters. The exploration of the Holy Fire Plateau is about to be completed. Next, prepare our forces and attack the Tomb Clan first. Chapter 1346, Holy Infant's Promotion. Alright, then what do we do about the White Robe Wizard Association? Besk wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and asked. Let's put it aside for now. The Kane Empire has suffered a loss from us. They will definitely find the weaknesses in the remaining large organizations to take advantage of. Perhaps we don't need to do anything. The White Robe Wizard Association will collapse on its own. At that time, we'll wait for an opportunity to make a move, said Roman. All right. Dragon Valley. Simon descended from the sky. After experiencing countless battles, the Black Lotus Beast's mountain-like body was covered in wounds and scars, but it became even more ferocious. The Black Lotus Beast looked at Simon angrily and remained silent. Without the strength to break through all of this, no matter how loudly the Black Lotus Beast shouted, it would only be in vain. A choker-shaped wizard tool flew out of Simon's hand and spun around the Black Lotus Beast's neck, piercing deep into its flesh. You must be tired of staying in this valley. Follow me to take a walk outside. I specially prepared this wizard tool for you. Don't try to go against my will, or you'll be in great pain, Simon said with a smile. Simon stood on the Black Lotus Beast's head and drove the giant beast away from the Dragon Valley. They were heading towards the east of the Io continent. In this world, less than 10% of the dragon abominations are alive. This Dragon Valley no longer has any meaning to exist. From now on, I'll take the initiative to attack. I'll start with the Sky Dragon Wizard first, then those two women. A few years ago, in the eastern region, there was a dragon abomination that was famous for a time. It was said that he colluded with Queen Banyan and obtained the Holy Grail treasure. At that time, the mages of the Empire had besieged the 9 Cities Alliance. The battle was intense, causing Simon to miss the feast. Apart from killing the Sky Dragon Wizard, Simon wanted to try his luck and search for some clues to see if he could find that dragon abomination. This way, Simon could satisfy his desire to kill and also obtain the Holy Grail treasure at the same time. It was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Simon had mastered the all living things yield to the dragon domain and had the support of the Black Lotus beast, which was comparable to a perfected 5th circle beast. Simon was confident that below the primordial soul realm, he was unrivaled. Sea of Stars. The new Fire Dragon Island. An awe-inspiring metal-winged dragon about 10 feet in size spread its wings in the weapon refinement room. Mesh's Winged Dragon. Holy Infant finished loading the ether stones. The winged dragon's eyes emitted a green light. In the next moment, 2 sharp rays of wind tore apart the array set up by Holy Infant and cut the wall in front of him. It was as fragile as tofu. After a year, the last alchemical creature of the wind god was finally refined. The Hast Eagle and the Kulkan Feathered Serpent were both with the main body. It just so happens that the Holy Infant has recently accumulated a bunch of resources and needed to give them to Levi. These resources included the potion materials for the advancement of the Crimson Emperor Dragon breathing technique. Thinking of this, Holy Infant left the island and flew toward Dragon Palace Island. Several days later, at the Star Bazaar, Mia was holding a spell crystal ball and studying the spells inside. She wanted to use it as her protective force field. Other than a few wizards who were more ambitious and talented, many ordinary wizards like her who had accepted their fate chose the spells of their predecessors instead of creating their own. After all, a self-created spell might not be more powerful than an existing spell. Of course, if one had enough talent and time, it would be great to create a spell that was most suitable for themselves. Mia raised her head, stood up, and walked to the door. A witch who was wearing a fiery red robe and was about the same size as Mia stood there. "Miss Mia, is Master Fire Dragon not at home?" asked Red Dragon Queen. "My lord isn't here." "Is there anything you need?" asked Mia. "It's like this. After some research, we've decided to let Master Fire Dragon join the 5 Elders' Palace. We want to ask his wishes in person," said Red Dragon Queen. "That's too unfortunate. My lord has just left." "All right then." Red Dragon Queen left. After learning that the master had killed a perfected 5th circle wizard by himself, the current members of the 5 Elders' Palace unanimously decided to invite the master to join the 5 Elders' Palace. Master Fire Dragon has just entered the 5th circle senior realm, but he can already kill a perfected 5th circle wizard. This kind of strength is too terrifying. Red Dragon Queen realized that there seemed to be a layer of fog around Master, making it hard to fathom. After a year of recuperation, Red Dragon Queen had recovered and her strength had improved. However, she was still a little short of attaining perfection in the 5th circle realm. During that 1 year, Simon's silhouette would always appear in her mind. Then, her body would feel a chill. Simon himself was not scary. Why would someone have such pure and terrifying malice towards the dragon clans? What had Simon experienced for him to be so twisted? It was as if he was born to discuss the dragon clans, like a young the End Dragon Bird. The End Dragon Bird. I originally thought that this terrifying race had long been destroyed by the dragon clan. Now, it seems that it might not be that simple. It's very likely that Simon used some forbidden method to obtain the End Dragon Bird. Otherwise, no matter how talented Simon is, it's impossible for him to develop such a domain spell. A month later. Dragon Palace Island. Levi came out of seclusion in advance and took the resources and the winged dragon from Holy Infant. Holy Infant hurried back to the Sea of Stars. Holy Infant naturally had to take up the position of the 5 Elder Palace. The higher the power, the more convenient it was for Holy Infant to act. "Now, let's try the combined might of the 3 wind gods." As Levi muttered, he arranged the feathered serpent, the Hast Eagle, and the winged dragon. Levi had already loaded them with ether stones. Then, Levi began to chant an incantation. Breath of the Wind God. The 3 alchemical creatures flapped their wings at the same time, stirring up 3 tornadoes that were hundreds of meters tall. Then, these tornadoes gathered together as if they had gravity. Chapter 1347, Testing the Wind God Model. In the end, a dragon tornado was formed. The bodies of the winged dragon, giant eagle, and feathered serpent suddenly turned into countless parts. Under the strength of the incantation, these parts were instantly reassembled. A 3-meter-tall humanoid alchemical creature appeared from the storm's birth. Its figure was dignified and its aura was extraordinary. It had the head of the giant eagle, the tail of a feathered serpent, and the claws of a winged dragon. It had 2 pairs of wings on its back and 1 pair of fleshy wings. In its hand was a staff formed from the body of a feathered serpent. Is this the wind god? It looks very awe-inspiring, and it really has the beauty of divinity. I wonder how strong it is. Levi called Thunder Rock over and let it enter. Try and see if you can control this alchemical creature. Thunder Rock nodded and obediently turned into a bolt of lightning and entered. The next moment, purple electric currents began to run amok on the surface of the wind god. The wind god's eagle-like sharp eyes suddenly opened, and the lightning disappeared. As for sparring with the wind god model, it was naturally the 3 brothers Ganster, Wenster, and Trist. There was nothing Levi could do. The earthquake dragons had thick skin and were the most resistant to beatings. Furthermore, the 3 brothers were the strongest among Levi's transcendent creatures. The wind god model's wind thunder power burst forth, turning into an illusion as it waved its staff. 3 dragon tornadoes shot toward the 3 brothers. The 3 brothers used the earthquake waves to block the dragon tornado and tear it apart. The dragon's breath blocked the wind god model's movement from 3 directions. The wind god model's 3 pairs of wings flapped, and a huge wind shield protected it. Rumble! The terrifying attack shattered the wind shield. The wind god model had long escaped. The wind god model's speed was extremely fast, and its eyes shot out rays of wind that were extremely sharp, cutting through everything. The scales of the earthquake dragon were instantly penetrated. At the same time, wind blades that filled the sky descended from the sky like rain. There was nowhere to hide. Hurricanes surrounded the 3 brothers and compressed them. In the end, after a fierce battle, the 3 brothers left the battle with wounds all over their bodies. The facts proved that they were still defeated by the wind god model even when they joined forces. This was the strength that was enough to suppress a 5th circle senior existence. Such a powerful alchemical creature was rare even in the wizard world. Now, we only need fire god, water god, and earth god models. At that time, I could easily suppress others like Yolanda just by relying on the alchemical creatures. Soon, the wind god model disintegrated and Thunder Rock flew out. Thunder Rock found it hard to believe that she could actually defeat 3 sub-dragons. Master's methods were truly ingenious and difficult to fathom. Not bad. I'll leave this wind god to you to pilot. Train it well in the future, said Levi. Thunder Rock nodded her head like a chick pecking at rice, extremely delighted. Now that Phoenix had become the Holy Infant's long-term fireman, she was duty-bound to be the driver. Levi arrived at the ancient Banyan fairyland. This time, Holy Infant had sent back quite a number of transcendent creatures in black beast flesh. Transcendent creatures were meant to feed the carnivorous mixed-blood dragons like the 3 brothers. Unlike Long, most transcendent creatures could go without food for a long time after a full meal. Long couldn't. It was a straightforward person. It pooped as it ate, and its metabolism was too fast. That was why it could grow to more than 100 meters in half a year. Long was the ruthless eating and dung-making machine. Under the ancient banyan tree. After more than a year of growth, more and more green sprouts appeared. I wonder when Senior Mana will wake up. At that time, I'll be able to do whatever I want on the 5th level. Forget it. Senior doesn't like to kill, so I won't cause trouble for her. During this period of time, apart from cultivating, Levi had already toured all 118 springs. He categorized the plants according to the ecology of the different springs. This way, it would be much more convenient to transplant plants in the future. In the dreamy cloud swamp, the saint fruit was growing well, and Levi could see changes to the plant every month. The growth cycle of this plant was not very long. As for the iron tree in the flaming mountain, the change was very small. It was still a long way to go before Levi could witness the blooming of the iron tree. The tree would need thousands of years. The thunderstorm wolf dragon had recovered from its injuries and was currently temporarily residing in the elemental rich land number 004, Thunder Dragon Mountain. This place was covered in thunderclouds all year round, and lightning would descend every day. Moreover, there was a land of underground fire in the mountain. The combination of thunder and fire had made the mountain rich in a type of level 4 thunder element metal thunder lava stone. There were a few other mines like this in the ancient Banyan fairyland, but not many. After all, the fairyland had only been around for a short period of time. Levi left the fairyland and continued to cultivate. Levi's top priority now was to cultivate the Crimson Emperor Dragon breathing technique to become a grade 5 knight. Relying on Holy Infant's status and connections, the advancement potion had long been prepared. Everything was ready, just waiting for Levi to advance. Sea of Stars. Holy Infant had officially joined the Five Elders' Palace. In just a few short years, he had already risen to the top of the White Robe Wizard Association. In the past year, the Nine Cities Alliance did not send any more troops. However, no one dared to relax. Under Rust Dragon Wizard's organization, the last level 5 Amethyst race member hiding in the Sea of Stars was also killed. Peace was temporarily restored here. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, another half a year had passed. On a certain day, Holy Infant looked at the information sent by his subordinates. Wizard Beckman is also a 5th circle wizard. The Grey Robe Palace has another 5th circle wizard. Not bad. Beckman was the perfected 4th circle portly wizard that Holy Infant met when he first came to the 5th floor. Beckman was also a teacher at Garcia Wizard Academy. It was a good thing for the academy that Beckman was a 5th circle wizard now. As the saying goes, a person's success depends on their morality. Those with morality will gain the support of others while those without morality will gain little support. As the reputation of the Nine Cities Alliance spread, the news of a primordial soul wizard in the Sea of Stars started to spread as well. Chapter 1348, Crimson Emperor Dragon Level 5. Many wizards who had been hesitating before also joined the association. Previously, the White Robe Wizard Association didn't have a primordial soul wizard to hold the fort, so everyone didn't have the confidence. Now, the association had a primordial soul wizard and even repelled the fierce attack of the Nine Cities Alliance. Naturally, things were very different now. Now, the White Robe Wizard Association had an unprecedented number of 40 5th circle wizards, and the association's reputation was growing stronger. At first, many wizards were quite dissatisfied with the fact that a 5th circle senior like the Fire Dragon Wizard had joined the Five Elders' Palace. Everyone fell silent when the Rust Dragon Wizard announced Fire Dragon Wizard's battle results to the public. The Fire Dragon and the Red Dragon Queen teamed up and killed 2 level 5 Amethyst race members, and one of the Amethyst race members was a peak level 5. Fire Dragon Wizard also single-handedly defeated the Nine Cities Alliance's perfected 5th circle wizard, Yolanda. With such combat data, who cares if he was only a 5th circle senior wizard? How many perfected 5th circle wizards could match his strength? Moreover, with Fire Dragon Wizard's reputation for making weapons, he was no longer inferior to the former Silverbeard. Therefore, there was an endless stream of people fawning over the rich and powerful, and there were even some who gave gifts. Fire Dragon Wizard did not refuse them. He let Mia handle this matter and expressed his goodwill to these people. To survive in the wizard world, one needed connections. And this was a great opportunity. With Mia handling these matters, he was not worried. Holy Infant himself was on Fire Dragon Island, refining wizard tools in peace. This time, what he was going to refine was not an ordinary wizard tool, but a flying sword that was compatible with his 7th talent. The main material was the scales that he had obtained from Venerable Blood Scales. However, after a month of Phoenix breathing fire for it, Holy Infant stopped Phoenix. That was because the scale had not changed at all during this month. This shocked Holy Infant. Even a level 6 man-faced spider's shell should have some changes. There is only one explanation for this situation. This Venerable Blood Scales is a level 7 or even a level 8 material. Let alone Phoenix, even a primordial soul wizard would need a long time to refine it. After Levi, Holy Infant's original body, found out about this, he was extremely happy. This was the first time Levi had seen a material of this level. It was priceless and immeasurable. Levi immediately asked Holy Infant to give up on refining the blood scale for the time being. Instead, he used the peak of level 5 amethyst as the main material and the female fire ore to refine the flying sword. This blood scale could only be used after Levi advanced to the primordial soul realm. If he could master it, the power would be unimaginable. Year 1212 of the Holy Brilliance Calendar, the month of beginning. Year 47 of the Dark Ancient Tower Calendar. The 111th Round Table Meeting. Among the new generation of knights, the Fire Dragon Knight had advanced to level 2. He was born with amazing bone structure and natural strength. Looking at it now, it was indeed extraordinary. His comprehension of combat techniques was also far beyond that of ordinary knights. This left a deep impression on Levi. In recent years, the knights had yet to produce a new level 4 knight. However, with Black Knight's progress, they should not be far off. The current situation in the human world is not optimistic. Many small transcendent organizations were destroyed. The Black Dragon Mountain Empire had been sending troops to harass the Seven Kingdoms continent, and the Church was struggling to deal with them. The ancient Saint Plain had already suffered many attacks from external enemies over the years. Fortunately, they were all safe and sound. The effect of the array was once again revealed. There were now 36 ancient saints in the Ancient Dragon's Empire Senior State Assembly. Among the 3 kings, the Golden Feathers King had broken through the ceiling of level 4 and entered level 5. This should be the realm of the initial ancient saint realm in the past. The method Golden Feathers King used to break through the shackles was based on the method of advancing to a knight, and he had magically modified it. Levi was even more convinced that the ancient saints were experimental subjects created by Sauron according to the path of knights. These 2 paths were essentially interlinked, which was why they could reach the same destination. Now that the theoretical system of knights had basically taken shape, the resources had also begun to be abundant. Levi ordered his subordinates to secretly buy Fur Clan slaves in the wizard world and began to train Fur Clan knights according to the method he left behind. This group of people would be trained and led by Algerda, Tiga, and the other first-generation Fur Clan knights. In the future, the Fur Clan knights would also be a trump card of the ancient Saint Plain. It could be seen that even without Levi, the ancient Saint Plain could still operate in an orderly manner. A complete set of knowledge research, practice, and application systems has been established. Next, they would rise in this grand era and step onto the stage of history. After the meeting ended, Levi looked at the panel on Dragon Palace Island. Levi. Crimson Emperor Dragon Breathing Technique, Level 16, Maximum, Evolvable/Advanceable. After decades of cultivation, the Crimson Emperor Dragon had finally reached its limit. One step further and Levi would become a 5th-rank knight. Levi sent the advancement potion into his body through the blood refinement method. After the Crimson Emperor Dragon reaches level 5, my strength should be able to easily suppress a perfected 5th circle existence. Then there is no need to hide on Dragon Palace Island anymore. I'll send the Grand Array and transcendent creatures into the ancient Banyan Fairyland and begin my exploration of the 5th level. In the past few decades, the flying scythe beasts had already marked many potential resource points on the Io continent and the Outer Sea region for Levi. However, those resource points were often guarded by powerful transcendent creatures. Out of safety considerations, Levi had never explored them. Levi had been waiting for the Crimson Emperor Dragon to level up. He would only dare to go out and have fun after reaching the 5th level of the strongest breathing technique. With the experience from the previous advancement, he was now more familiar with this breakthrough. Half a year later, Levi's body had completely digested the Crimson Emperor Dragon's secret medicine. There was a hot current flowing in his body like lava, causing his limbs and bones to feel intense pain. However, with his strong willpower and endurance, he was able to deal with the pain that could make ordinary people go crazy. Blood seeped out of his body, and some impurities could be seen. The powerful bloodline of the Crimson Emperor Dragon was transforming his body. Within the Crimson Emperor Divine Palace that was located in Levi's heart, the Crimson Emperor Dragon seed that was sitting on the throne was also undergoing a transformation. Rebirth, disillusionment, rebirth. The cycle repeated. After an unknown period of time, Levi had completely turned into a bloody man. The blood scab solidified into a crystal and remained motionless. This state lasted for a month. On this day, cracks began to appear on the blood-red crystal. A powerful and overbearing aura drilled out from within. The crystal broke. A well-proportioned and muscular man with the same height as an ordinary person slowly walked out. I seem to have been asleep for a while. Levi looked into his own body. In the Divine Palace, the Crimson Emperor Dragon also woke up from its slumber and opened its indifferent dragon eyes that could destroy the world. Levi looked at Dragon Palace Island, where he had lived for decades. From now on, the world is vast and meant for wandering. I'm coming. Chapter 1349, The Inferno of the Red Lotus, 1. Before embarking on his journey, he needed to properly equip his sword. After reaching the 5th level of the Crimson Emperor Dragon, Levi could clearly feel his fundamental strength had grown significantly stronger. The essence of the Crimson Emperor Dragon was like a miniature nuclear reactor, capable of unleashing terrifying power with just a spark. Within him, the immense power of the Crimson Emperor Dragon surged. In an instant, a majestic red divine palace projected into the sky, reaching heights of 10,000 meters. The divine palace radiated endless light and heat, blinding and akin to the sun. The intense heat twisted the sky, turning the clouds a deep red. The temperature of the land visibly increased. Hot! So hot! In this sea area, all sea beasts and fish were turned belly up by the searing heat. Even though they were miles away from the divine palace. As the divine palace descended, the sea water began to evaporate rapidly. When it descended to 1,000 meters above, the sea below was already boiling. Boom! The divine palace landed on the sea surface. Hundreds of meters of sea water instantly evaporated, revealing the charred riverbed beneath. For miles around, the ocean turned to scorched earth. This was the power of the Crimson Emperor Divine Palace's projection. Even more formidable than the Golden Snake Divine Palace. Levi retracted the Crimson Emperor Divine Palace, no longer wishing to damage the local environment. He soared into the sky. Countless flames erupted around him, shooting upwards. When the firelight vanished, a sleek, red armor appeared on him. The armor was composed of magma-like flesh and scales, radiating intense heat. The flesh of the armor was closely connected with every divine thread within Levi. On the chest of the armor was a lotus-like pattern, with 32 petals. Among them, 31 petals glowed red, while one had already extinguished. This seems to be an energy indicator of the Crimson Emperor Dragon. When all 32 petals extinguish, the armor will dissipate. Truly worthy of the Crimson Emperor Dragon, it has such features. The Blood Source armor was immensely powerful, but like the Divine Palace, it consumed energy greatly. Levi freely soared in the sky, wearing the Crimson Emperor Dragon armor, leaping above the clouds. He gathered power in his right arm and struck out with a punch. No flashy techniques, no dazzling spells, just pure strength. The raging crimson flame punch tore through the clouds ahead, creating a massive void, with faint traces of firelight remaining on the walls of the void, vanishing. He grasped the Crimson Dragon Slash and invoked the Heavenly Dragon Sword Codex. Using the Crimson Emperor Dragon armor, he unleashed a Crimson Dragon Sword Chi. The sword Chi cut through the air like a red beam, dividing heaven and earth. The clouds roiled and reluctantly parted, leaving behind a high-temperature air distortion channel that took a long time to dissipate. The lingering power of the sword Chi lasts so long. With this strike, all the sufferings, sorrows, fears, and troubles in this world will vanish into thin air. He sheathed his long sword. The right arm of the Crimson Emperor Dragon armor suddenly expanded, becoming thicker and longer. Then, the hand transformed into a fearsome, gigantic red dragon's head. Boom! Like a volcanic eruption, the breath of the Crimson Emperor Dragon surged forth. The breath extended for 5 miles, creating a river of flames high in the sky. This attack's power is even greater than the Fire Dragon Tribulation, reaching half the level of the 9 Dragon Tribulation. Unexpectedly, it's enough to annihilate a 5th Circle Senior Wizard in an instant. At this moment, Levi noticed that 4 petals of the lotus on his chest had already extinguished. Next, let's try the real ultimate move. The ultimate move of the brilliant golden dragon armor was the golden light of the unicorn, obliterating everything. Levi later named it Golden Ray. The Golden Ray was a single target-focused attack, adept at breaking through defenses. The ultimate move of the Crimson Emperor Dragon armor, on the other hand, was entirely different. Levi concentrated, extinguishing 24 petals of the lotus in an instant. 24 crimson rays shot into the sky. Under the red sky, countless flames and air currents shredded the white clouds. A gigantic red lotus, about 100 meters in diameter, descended from above. With 24 petals, it illuminated all directions. Under the terrifying heat, the surrounding void seemed to twist and melt. In this distortion of power, volcanoes, magma, blazing suns, fire dragons, and fire gods, all sorts of fiery phenomena filled the world. And reigning over these phenomena was the awe-inspiring, world-suppressing Crimson Emperor Dragon. As the Red Lotus descended, a 5-mile radius turned into a fiery hell. Even the energy at the edges was more powerful than most 5th Circle spells. The deeper one went, the more terrifying the energy became. At the center, a destructive aura pervaded, as if a single glance could cause one to explode and sink into death. Levi named the ultimate move of the Crimson Emperor Dragon armor Red Lotus Purgatory. In theory, the strongest form of the Red Lotus Hell at this level should be 32 petals. However, this level could not achieve it. Because after the Crimson Emperor Dragon armor was created, one petal of the lotus would automatically extinguish. This was likely due to the fixed energy consumption required by the mech itself. Perhaps after reaching level 6, the number of red lotus petals can increase, Levi murmured. After the experiment, he summarized several uses of the Crimson Emperor Dragon armor. 1. Amplifies strength. 2. Enhances defense. 3. Crimson Emperor Dragon breath. 4. Red Lotus Purgatory. He couldn't help but marvel at how the Crimson Emperor Dragon armor was considerably stronger than the brilliant Golden Dragon armor. For this experiment with the Crimson Emperor Dragon armor, he did not seek a sparring partner this time, mainly to avoid harming any transcendent creatures. The Crimson Emperor Dragon was an absolute dragon of destruction, every action capable of devastating the world. So, it was enough to just strike the air and enjoy the power. Chapter 1350, The Inferno of the Red Lotus, 2. He opened the proficiency panel. Levi, Crimson Emperor Dragon breathing technique, level 17, 1/2,000,000, special effect, Flame Dragon's true form, level 5, Bloodline Dharma Idol, Heaven Burning Crimson Emperor, Blood Source Armor, Crimson Emperor Dragon Armor. Exclusive weapon, Crimson Dragon Slash, level 4. 2 million proficiency points required. If I rely on level 4 Crimson Horned Fire Pythons for training, who knows how many years it'll take to reach level 6. I need to start searching for level 5 sub-dragons next. For Levi, none were more suitable than the Black Lotus Beast among all the fire-type sub-dragons. The strongest sub-dragon derived from the Red Lotus Dragon. I can't wait. Originally, Levi had planned to venture into Dragon Valley quietly after his retreat. But recently, through the Holy Infant, he learned that someone had spotted the Black Lotus Beast in the eastern region of Io, where it had killed numerous wizards, and even some ordinary people. The Black Lotus Beast seemed to have gone mad, attacking recklessly. It had broken through the encirclement and blockade of several 5th Circle perfected wizards multiple times. Levi speculated that the sudden appearance of the crazed Black Lotus Beast in the eastern region might not be a coincidence. It could be that the Nine Cities Alliance was redirecting trouble to the east, just like how the Amethyst race appeared in the Sea of Stars, an arranged plan. But regardless, from now on, the Black Lotus Beast was his, and not even Jesus could stop him. Of course, he wouldn't just rush in blindly, he needed to investigate the eastern region first and plan his actions accordingly. After all, he was invincible beneath the primordial soul level, but not truly invincible. Levi entered the ancient Banyan fairyland and arrived at the small stone pond. After a vigorous and intense workout, Levi enjoyed soaking in the spring water of immortality to bathe. After bathing, he felt refreshed and invigorated. He began to prepare for moving. This time, he was leaving Dragon Palace Island, and it was likely he wouldn't be coming back. He then went to the 8 Heavenly Dragon Prison. Gan, Wen, Kui, Sawkins, Pixar, Thunder Rock, all of you, come here. He called out. The transcendent creatures swarmed towards him. Lord Dragon King, are we leaving? Ganster asked. Yes, the real journey begins now. I will take you all to the true Dragon Palace Fairyland, Levi replied. I knew it. Our Dragon Palace must have a secret base. Trist excitedly exclaimed. It made sense to him that such a prestigious organization like the Dragon Palace couldn't possibly have its base on a desolate island. He figured the Lord Dragon King had been testing them all along, and now that they had passed, they were finally going to enter the secret base. All right, line up. You'll be going in one by one. Once inside, don't wander off. If you damage any of the rare plants or flowers, there will be consequences, Levi instructed. He opened the entrance to the ancient Banyan fairyland. The 3 brothers, with their massive bodies, entered one after the other. Upon entering, they were greeted by a vast expanse of blue skies, white clouds, and an endless prairie. This place is incredible. The earth elemental power here is so dense. Winst exclaimed. I feel like I could reach level 5 within 40 years. Ratty lay down on the grass, enjoying the gentle breeze, feeling a surge of motivation. More and more transcendent creatures entered the fairyland, and the prairie quickly became lively. Those at level 5, stay here. Level 4s, find a suitable place to live, but don't enter any marked locations without permission, Levi ordered. Given the strength of the enemies he would face in the future, having anyone below level 5 guarding the array would be meaningless and could even be a liability. In the following day Levi looked at the now desolate Dragon Palace Island, erasing all traces of his life there. Finally, assuming the appearance of a kind-looking wizard, he headed to the valley. Aya had grown a bit, blossoming into a more beautiful and lively young girl with sparkling eyes. She was now a mid-level apprentice wizard, advancing quickly in her studies. Aya had never seen Levi before, only the Holy Infant, so she was a bit nervous. "Are you a friend of the big brother?" she asked. Levi thought for a moment and then smiled. "You could say that. We're very good friends." "Okay, are we leaving?" Aya was quick to catch on. "Yes, I'm ending my reclusive life. You're coming with me. I'll take you to a safe place. From now on, you can call me Island Master," he said. "All right, Island Master brother, please tell the big brother when you see him." Aya was lively and sweet, and she quickly became comfortable chatting with Levi. Levi mused to himself. "In my previous life, I wasn't even 30, and kids were already calling me uncle. Now, in this life, I'm over 200 years old, and someone's still calling me brother." He brought Aya to the ancient Banyan fairyland and had her settle in the tree hollow at Mana's roots. From the information the little girl had previously revealed, it was clear that Mana knew her. The voice of the Holy Grail echoed in his mind, "This little girl is quite special." Levi replied, "Yes, her talent as a wizard is impressive. With proper guidance, she could have a bright future." The Holy Grail continued, "Aya doesn't know that her mother wasn't a mortal but the Supreme Mage of Light. Her mother was hunted down for betraying the Supreme Archmage, and, gravely wounded, she entrusted Aya to Mana before she died. Aya's talent may be tied to this event." If you enjoy my content and want more videos, support me in Ko-fi. The link in the description.